This week,
we review director Steven Soderbergh's spy thriller, Black Bag, and director Alex Sharfman's thriller comedy, Death of a Unicorn.
we also touch on the recently announced cast list for the Robert Downey Jr. starring blockbuster Avengers Doomsday.
And we converse about the resurrection of the Will Forte starring comedy Coyote versus Acme, while also discussing the drama surrounding the James Bond franchise over at Amazon.
My name is Simon Eady.
And I'm Adrian Pinter.
Welcome to Split Focus, a film and TV podcast, episode 107. It is happening. Episode 107.
Wow.
I know, crazy.
So many episodes.
Yeah, so many. I hear you haven't had a coffee today, Adrian.
Yeah, I haven't. I came to that realization. You hit record. It was doing the countdown, and I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't had my coffee today. So who knows? Maybe I won't be as high energy as I usually am, Simon.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll be lower energy.
I'm so sorry. We're doing this earlier. We usually record these late into the evening, usually around 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.
EST, yeah.
And this one's in the mid-afternoon on a Sunday here, so
EDT.
I guess we'll see how our energy is. How are things? How are the last 2 weeks? We record this every 2 weeks. We release these episodes every 2 weeks. How were your last 2 weeks, my good friend?
It was all right, man. You know, ups and downs, lefts and rights.
Oh, yeah.
You know, things going a little crazy. But, yeah, not too bad, man. You know, I'm tearing out my flooring in the basement of my new home because we're getting carpet installed on Tuesday.
Oh.
It's going to be nice and cozy and warm. So I was tearing that up this morning as I woke up.
Oh.
Which is, yeah. But apart from that, man, fairly uneventful. Nothing too crazy. How about you, man? What's new with you? It's nice to see you.
I'm just working. I come home. I play some video games, watch some movies with you. You know, I haven't done too much. It's not, yeah, on occasion. We're going to get to that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, not too much. The weather's been wacky here in Canada. We're in Ontario. It's like it's ice raining 1 second at the beginning of last week, and then it's just suddenly snowing, a snowstorm, and then it just literally heated up to like 22 degrees one day. I don't really understand. I think that was within like a 24-hour period that it was.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And then a lot of places went out of power, like they dropped power. I don't know if your house went out of
Mine was fine. My parents, their house lost power and their basement flooded quite substantially.
Oh, no, both things. Yeah, the problem is the ground is oversaturated with water because of the snow having melted just recently. And then now it's April showers, so it's raining a lot, and it rained nonstop. Yeah. So, yeah, that's been an issue.
I hope it brings May flowers, though.
Yeah. Sure. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had flooding in our basement the last few years. Not last year, but the year before that, or was it 3 years ago? COVID is a crazy time warp, isn't it? I don't remember when it was. I think it was just after COVID it started, but we had really bad flooding, and then we had somebody come inspect the property, and it was just, there's old houses just have cracks in the foundation. So they discovered that the best way to solve this problem is to just grade the ground properly so the water runoff moves towards the street, and then it solves that issue. And it did. It fixed it. It's crazy. We haven't had a flooding since. We had 2 or 3. It's like once every 2 years we had flooding for a couple years, just because again, it's just the snow is melting so fast, and then it starts to rain, and then it's just a recipe for disaster. But that was a quick way to fix that, other than like digging out your entire lawn and trying to find the crack in the foundation, probably grading your front lawn to make sure the water runs in the correct direction. That's probably the best way. I mean, I'm no ground
lawn
scientist.
Care. Oh, yeah. I was going to say lawn care expert, but I guess it's more of like a landscaping thing, hardscaping.
No, it would be somebody who's like an engineer, though. They're like kind of an architect in a way. I mean, somebody who is able to tell, like, hey, the guy who came to our house, the inspector dude, was just like, this is the problem. You got to fix it. And then we're like, okay. And we fixed it, and it worked. So good for him. He knows
That's a good inspector.
Yeah. Adrian, there's so much news this week. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot because of CinemaCon. So there's just so many things to talk about. Some of them will just kind of jump over. We
Yeah,
saw.
it's pretty crazy too because they have SawCon going on too.
Oh no, I'm not falling for that shit.
Suck on
Wow.
these nuts, motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, at least you got to say the punchline, even though I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
fall
fall
for it.
for
It's
it.
okay.
It is what it is. We went to a couple movies this week. One of which was on Friday, the same day in which Minecraft, the Minecraft I think it's called a Minecraft movie,
Mm-hmm.
came out, starring Jason Momoa and good old
Jack
Jack
Black.
Black.
Mm.
Yeah, I am shocked. I am genuinely shocked about how popular that movie seems to be. The number of kids that were there, that were like between the ages of, I don't know, they were actually not really kids, they were teenagers at the minimum. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't really see any kids at all. It's kind of
Mm-mm.
crazy, but it was such a busy theater. And I don't
Twas.
remember the last time it was this busy. Even when we went to see Captain America in whatever it's called, Brave New World. Wait, no, we
Yeah,
saw that in the middle of the week though, so that doesn't
yeah,
count.
we did. Also, that movie did not do nearly as well as Minecraft did this weekend.
Crazy. I
Yeah,
just saw, like, I was just seeing that they were saying after Saturday the predictions are going to be like $260 million opening or something
yeah,
ridiculous.
it's pretty wild.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good for them, I guess. But the movie's also not reviewed well at all. It's reviewed like at a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm.
So
What's the
how is
audience?
that?
What's the
I think
popcorn
it's like
meter?
75%.
Okay, that's what
Um,
matters.
I believe so. Warner Brothers, the heads of like the Warner Brothers like movie studios, like David Zaslav's underlings. That's a weird way to say that.
Mm-hmm.
His his people, his big executives. Apparently, they are having a tough time. He was potentially shopping around to find new executives to head up the studios.
Mm.
I can't remember their names. They used to be in charge of MGM, and then they moved on when Mr. Bezos purchased MGM, like Amazon purchased it.
Yeah,
It's Paula Abdi, I think it is.
Paul Abdul
No.
from the hit artist from like the '80s who also did a American Idol, the host, right?
Yeah, of course. No,
Mhm.
it's not even Paula, it's Pam. So that part, the only connection you had wasn't accurate. Pam Abdi and who is the other person? Come on, where's their name? Anyway, whatever.
Simon Cowell,
It's
who
not
I believe was also a host on American Idol. Funnily enough, it's crazy.
Michael DeLuca, I believe it is. Anyways,
Mm.
there was rumors that he was shopping around during CinemaCon, just like the day before they're about to go up on stage and announce the Warner Brothers slate of movies. And they're about to go on stage, and like there's like rumors that he's looking for a replacement for them. It's, I don't know. Warner Brothers is strange lately. They've, especially with gaming. Warner Brothers gaming is a whole other can of worms that it's really not going through. It's going through the shit right now. But movies, it's kind of hit and miss. They had Dune, which I think is pretty great, like, and Dune Part 2. The Batman, which was a long time ago at this point. They got DC stuff coming, and I think that stuff's like probably gonna hit.
Hopefully.
But they had a couple things that just haven't done super well in the last couple years. So, but this is a crazy hit, 260 million. Maybe he'll hit the brakes on the looking for replacements, if that's even true. But anyway,
yeah, so
it's crazy.
I'm jumping ahead a bit, but it's kind of funny. Have you watched The Studio, Apple TV Plus's new show, The Studio, starring
No, I
Seth
haven't
Rogen?
watched it yet. Have you watched it?
I've watched the first 2 out of the 3 episodes that are out, I believe.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
And it's really good, and it's kind of funny because again, I don't want to spoil much about it, but the first episode, Bryan Cranston's in it, Seth Rogen, and the premise of the show is Seth Rogen gets the top position at a film studio and has to make the executive decisions, and Bryan Cranston is kind of at the top, like above him, his boss, and says like, hey, we gotta make. Like, we're not making artsy fartsy movies. This is all in the trailer. Like, we're not making artsy fartsy films. We're making movies. They got to make money. And like his whole pitch is like in the first episode is for Seth Rogen to create a Kool-Aid movie, like a movie based on Kool-Aid because Barbie did so well and they're going to make a shit ton of money. And I feel like this is just so parallel to what's going on in the industry right now with Warner Bros. And everything like that. It's really good. Again, I don't want to dive too deep into the show at this point in time, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's fantastic. And like, I think it is such a eye-opening show to watch if you like the film industry, to kind of see a little bit more behind the scenes, because I think Seth Rogen's doing a very good, accurate representation of what's going on, kind of on the back end there. It's really neat. It's really neat. And this again, it just kind of reminds me of what's happening right now with Warner Bros. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But the studio, I'm definitely planning on watching. It's just the problem is the week-to-week aspect. But there's already 3 episodes launched. I don't know. It's kind of fun to be able to talk about it with you, I guess. But TV shows are tricky because there's like different, like each episode, it spoils more and more if you talk about it. Like when you get to the end of the season, you can barely talk about a season at all, I find. I don't know if you find that too. Unless we're going to do like a closer look episode. Just because it's a bit tricky in that regard. But yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's move on into the news in a bigger way, I guess. This is like a somewhat like of a thing that I'm curious about whether you even know about or have experienced before. This first piece of quick bite film and TV industry news for the last 2 weeks. Do you have experience with going on YouTube and looking for a YouTube trailer for a movie or a TV show and finding a fake trailer by accident because you click on it thinking it's okay, you're shaking your head yes.
Yeah, I'm nodding my head.
Okay. Deadline did a report about 2 big YouTubers that are massive, like millions of followers, I think it is. KH Studio and Screen Culture. Screen Culture I definitely knew about, and I definitely clicked on their videos.
Yes. I'm the same. I don't know about KH Studio, but Screen Culture I'm actually very familiar with. And this is a more recent finding, funnily enough, unrelated to this news story.
But regardless, Deadline did a news about these fake trailers that garner millions of views at times, or hundreds of thousands of views, or thousands of views, depending on the video. And they did a news story on this and said that the big studios are actually kind of benefiting from this because it's kind of free hype in some regard. But then YouTube caught wind of this Deadline story, and then they basically demonetized these 2 channels, which is good for me because I hate those YouTube channels with a passion because they're intentionally trying to mislead. And it's very frustrating. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but I was kind of happy about this because I find that a lot of the internet, honestly, is intentionally misinformation on purpose just to get people to click on it. And that's kind of the way the internet's built around. It's built around this clickbait, and this is fueled based on the algorithm of clicks and saying the most egregious thing and saying the most, like, if somebody really wants something, as an example, in the next version of a movie, if they really want, for instance, the Legend of Zelda movie, which is actually happening, but regardless of that, they wanted a Legend of Zelda movie and it wasn't announced, as an example, or they wanted the next Zack Snyder Batman movie, which is never going to come to pass because it obviously that DC universe is changed its ways. But they would make a trailer about this to try to fuel that, just lies basically, and have a screen thumbnail that's really great marketing, good for them on a marketing front. But it never says, very rarely says in the title that this is a fake trailer or a fan trailer. It just says, this is the trailer. Trailer 1 or teaser trailer for James Gunn's Superman, even though it hasn't even been announced or released by Warner Brothers yet. And anyway, so if you have any thoughts on this, I'll throw the floor to you.
No, I think we're pretty similar in our thought processes on this. It really pisses me off, honestly. Like this shit, especially Screen Culture. I feel like they even have like official trailer in some of the titles as well, and it drives me insane. Official. And it's funny. I kind of learned about this more recently. I'm sure I've come across these videos in the past, like way before, but most recently, I think because I remember hearing a Ballerina trailer, like Ballerina John Wick movie, that it was coming out, like a new one was coming out shortly. And I was like, oh, sweet. Right. And so I go on YouTube and then I click on the first one that pops up that has so many views. It was released like 3 days prior. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I watch it. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, wait 1 second. Like these are scenes from John Wick 4. These are scenes from John Wick 3. Yeah. I'm like, I don't think this is Anna de Armas in this Ballerina movie. Like it's just like these random things. So I'm like sitting there kind of confused. I'm like, what the hell? So, you go into the description, you read the first few lines, and then, kind of in the description, it'll be like, this is a fan made trailer, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? Why is this here? Why is this being promoted to me and shown to me first when it is just demonstrably fake? And then, I look online and then, yeah, it's like the ballerina trailer isn't out yet. It's coming out, in a couple days time or whatever. So it's, yeah, again, I think we live in an era right now with AI and everything that we are just constantly being misinformed, like our we're being misdirected, all this stuff. And I'm getting freaking sick of it, dude. I'm getting very sick of it. I don't want to be duped constantly or have to be, watch what I'm looking at. Sometimes if I look for a trailer, just give me the goddamn trailer. So good riddance. I've never watched any Cage Studio stuff, but at Screen Culture, they come up and they actively try to make themselves look like the legitimate trailer or like a real channel. Issue. Yeah. Right? They're actively trying to deceive the viewer. Right. And I don't want to be deceived. I just simply don't, Simon. I don't know about you, but I don't like being decepted.
It's just it's incessant though on the internet now. And the thing is that YouTube was, as you said, like they put that in your feed. So they should their algorithm is somehow favoring these videos from YouTube channels like this, and that's the big problem. So I appreciate them demonetizing them, but honestly, Google's not good at this in general. I have this criticism of Google, like right now with Google AI. I find Google AI is incredibly inaccurate almost every time you check it. Anytime you look anything up, you look at it, sometimes like you'll ask a yes or no question, like I don't know, give me a question.
Can you eat rocks? Is eating rocks healthy?
Can you eat rocks? That's the example that actually happened. I was thinking of something random, but yeah, like, can you eat rocks? And then it says yes in some weird way. And then it gives you some, I don't know, some joker was making a joke online or something like that. And it will literally take those words and then paste it into the Google AI thing. That was in the beginning of Google AI. We never had anything as that egregious. And actually those types of instances aren't as bad as the ones that are borderline could be true, because I'm genuinely wondering the answer. The problem is sometimes I'll put a yes or no question in there and it will give me the answer is yes when the answer is actually no. And then it will explain how it's no in like a paragraph. And I'm reading through it and I'm like, wait, what? How is that possible? Then they give you the link, you click the link and no one had ever said yes. So you're just like, what are you talking? Why did you write yes? It's yes, comma, and then the paragraph of why it's not right. And it's like, guys, that's not useful. And this is useless. This is not ready for prime time. We are already inundated with misinformation across the internet. It's ridiculous. I don't need this coming from Google as well, which I need to be able to trust in some capacity. Again, it fuels people using Google search, perhaps. It is convenient if it's correct, but almost every time when you look through the Google AI, it's inaccurate in some way. And that is really unfortunate because it's like in some way, then people, they take that information and they say it to their friends and their family, and then it just spreads and spreads and spreads on social media and various other aspects. I come across that all the time. And like, where'd you hear that from this? And like, I read it on Google. And I'm like, okay, let's go back there. Let's Google it together. And here it, I click the link. Oh, see, it says no. Oh, annoying. Just very annoying. I will say this is the last thing for this Cage Studio thing. The Cage Studio person who runs the channel, this is their quote about the deadline article, I think, but also about them being demonetized. They say, quote, "I've been running KH Studio full time for over 3 years now, putting everything into it. It's tough to see it grouped under misleading content in the demonetization decision. And my goal has always been to explore creative possibilities, not to misrepresent real releases." Okay? I'm literally on the KH Studio page, and the first thing I see here is White Chicks 2 first trailer, Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Oh, you mean Resident Evil, in brackets, 2025, first trailer, Leonardo DiCaprio, Angelina Jolie? Oh, yeah. You're not misleading intentionally. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. Yeah. Good riddance.
I thought maybe this Cage Studio, because I haven't come across this person as much either. They have 691,000 subscribers. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I haven't come around across this person either. So when I read the quote, I'm like, oh, maybe KH Studio isn't as bad as Screen Culture, which I know to be pretty bad. And then I went to their YouTube channel because I'm like, I'm not going to click their videos, mind you. I'm not going to give them a single click.
Yeah, so this is interesting as well. Oh my God, Naruto 2025 first trailer, Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet. So like this stuff is like they're straight up using AI.
Oh, they are too. That is part of the Deadline article that they wrote. Is they were talking about how they're using AI to do it as well.
Was Screen Culture
really
also using AI? Because I feel like
I don't think they are. I think they're using clips from elsewhere. I think Cage Studios thing is AI. Maybe Screen Culture is doing it now, but the ones that have fooled me in the past have just been the title and then the thumbnail. It's the thumbnail that does it.
Yeah, the thumbnails are definitely
GTA
AI.
San Andreas 2025 teaser trailer. Will Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Alien Earth, new trailer, FX, 4K. Concept. Don't worry, it's a concept. They added that.
They said concept now. There's also one for Ghost Rider 2025 with Ryan Gosling. That one says fan trailer right in the front, right on the top of it. So that one's actually okay. That one I accept.
Yeah. So, but it kind of adds to it though, because now they're sprinkling in things into their existing library saying, hey, this one's fan related. So you're labeling one thing as a fan made thing. And it almost makes it seem like, but all the other stuff we post is not fan related. This stuff's real.
Exactly.
And,
yes.
And I feel like it adds to the deception.
Right. That's right. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's crazy. There's so many of these, like Screen Culture. Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer 2 4K concept. Don't worry, they're adding concept. I wonder if this guy went back and added concept to some of this stuff.
I feel like maybe that is a good.
But yeah, it was the one. Yeah, it's the ballerina trailer that I saw. It came out 12 days ago. It literally said ballerina new final trailer. Keanu Reeves, Ana de Armas, and it shows like Ana de Armas holding a gun in the thing. Like that looks legitimate. Like
yeah.
Unless I actively I just like look in the description. You are trying to deceive people, and I'm glad you're demonetized. And I hope you break both your legs on the fall down.
Whoa. And you mean like metaphorically?
No, literally. Literally, I hope he falls
literally
down. Literally, and
breaks
both his legs.
Yeah. It's a little bit extreme. Too extreme for me, but I am glad that they're demonetized because it is annoying. I've also come across people who have definitely seen trailers from this and said, oh, did you see the new trailer for this? It's like, no, there's no new trailer. And then they'll adamantly tell me that there's a trailer for it. Yeah, it's coming. This is coming. This movie's coming. I'm like, no, I don't think this movie's even been announced. You're just saying that. I think you might have been misled. And they're like, no. And then they look at me like I'm the stupid one. I'm the crazy one. It's like, you're being misled by something on the internet. Like the thing is for us, I mean, we're not professional at all. We record a podcast every 2 weeks, but we do look at the news a little bit more often than the average person. I think the average moviegoer, I would say, and we also go to maybe more movies than the average moviegoer too.
I would say so, yeah.
So that kind of gives us a leg up in that regard. Like knowing that the ballerina trailer is made up of John Wick 4 and 3 clips because you'd seen it recently or you really like it and then we thought about it and talked about it. So it makes it fresh in our memories. And so therefore we're less likely to be susceptible once we click it. We're more likely to be annoyed, not be misled. The misleading part is the thing that really irks me personally. That's the thing that annoys me most. But anyway, all right, well, that's it. Let's move on to the next piece of news. The next piece of news, which is really cool, and this is amazing. I think this is great. As reported by Variety, live-action animated hybrid film Coyote versus Acme is coming to theaters. After all, Ketchup Entertainment reportedly purchased the rights from Warner Brothers for about $50 million for this hybrid animated and live action film starring Will Forte and John Cena. And I got to tell you, when they had announced this years ago, I was pretty excited about it. We talked about it on the podcast in our first 100 episodes. And I honestly was interested in this. I kind of like live action animated hybrid movies often. Like I think that Who Framed Roger Rabbit is pretty great. And I also really like the recent Chip and Dale movie.
Chip and Dale.
But yeah, I know you sent this to me, so I
Yes.
imagine you're kind of excited about it a little bit. Oh, but I mean, this is also neat in that Warner Brothers was gonna literally write it off on their taxes, and the fact that they chose not to do it and sell it is pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah. I also am I remembering this incorrectly? But didn't they say that they like destroyed it? Didn't they say like it's done? Like they destroyed this movie? I swear to God, they said that at some point. But maybe again, maybe I was being misled at the time.
I think there were a lot of people talking about it, and this is like a broken telephone situation where, like, even podcasts I listen to, like they say, "Oh, and you remember that Warner Brothers movie, Coyote versus Acme, and how they wrote it off on their taxes." I think like people just like assume that had happened. That happened to Willow on Disney Plus, like the Willow TV series. I'm pretty sure they wrote that off and just removed it and destroyed it from Disney Plus. Like they just like wiped it off the face of the earth. I'm pretty sure that happened. But this, I think they were always shopping it around, but then they couldn't find a buyer for a long time. This movie apparently cost $70 million to make. So they took a loss a little bit, but I'm sure they got more of a gain from selling it than they would have gotten the tax refund write-off situation. So that's cool. But I don't know. When this happened initially, when Warner Brothers said, we're not going to do it, we're doing cost cutting, we're not going to launch this movie in theaters. Will Forte, who's in the movie, as I just said, he plays the lawyer to Coyote from the Looney Tunes. He's trying to sue Acme for I don't know, like for it's like I guess it's like the McDonald's lady who spilled the hot coffee on her, and then they had to add the hot coffee label. Yeah, I guess that's the kind of lawsuit we're dealing with here. But there's like apparently Will Forte and Coyote, like they build like a long-term bond in this movie, and then like trying to fight the man. It's just a cool idea. I really love this idea. When I heard about it, I'm like, that's so cool. I'm really interested in this. And then we learned it was being destroyed or not released. And then it made me sad. And so it does make me happy that this is happening. But Will Forte, when they said they're not going to release the movie, when they bailed on it for cost-cutting reasons, Will Forte said it's fucking bullshit on social media. And others in the industry, like Phil Lord from like 21 Jump Street fame.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he only produced those movies, right? Yeah. He didn't direct the
No, I think him and it's like Phil
Lord and Christopher Miller.
Yeah. I almost said Chris Lord, Phil Miller. Like those guys. I think they produced those movies. I don't think they actually like wrote them. Or sorry, directed them.
It's kind of like how people always misattribute Nightmare Before Christmas to Tim Burton, but Tim Burton didn't direct it. And it's just that even in my mind, I sometimes think about that. And it's like, it's so much like a Tim Burton movie, like a movie he would make, but he didn't. Well, I don't know how much work he did on the producing, so maybe it was more hands-on. But regardless of that, Phil Lord was annoyed as well. That was the point I was making.
Just quick. So Phil Lord did write Into the Spider-Verse.
He wrote it.
Yeah.
Was it with Christopher Miller as well?
No. Rodney Rothman.
Okay.
Oops.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then I guess anyways, sorry, quick aside, not to go too off tangent. But yeah, it's really interesting that they're doing this. And again, I really like Will Forte. Like, I think he has just such a distinct comedic style. Yeah. He's kind of unmatched. His facial like expressions just really, I don't know, they just add something to the comedy. Some people just are funny looking people, and the way they like can make their face move adds to the comedy. I think about like Tim Robinson. Like, Tim Robinson's a funny looking guy. And
there's a specific skit with both of them that I'm thinking about right now as you talk about this. But
the airplane one, right? I love that one.
It's distinctly great. It is very good.
So I really like that, and I'm glad that they're bringing it back. And it's cool because Ketchup Entertainment. We actually talked about the day the Earth blew up, like a Looney Tunes movie. It came out a couple weeks back or a few weeks back.
Yeah, animated. It's fully animated.
Yeah, and that's another Warner Bros. Property. At the time, I think we both said, like, oh, Warner Brothers released this. But this is actually another movie they were looking to write off, but Ketchup Entertainment came in and purchased the rights to. Ketchup Entertainment is the one releasing The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, and now, again, going to be releasing Coyote versus Acme. So it's really neat that they're kind of coming in and ultimately, picking up these broken pieces and allowing these quality, what I assume are quality products, to be released. I haven't watched The Day the Earth Blew Up. Let's see. Real quick. Let's check the reviews. 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's
Good.
an 88 popcorn meter. So it's a very well regarded movie. And it makes me almost want to go see it in theaters. I think it's not really playing nearby us anymore, and I kind of regret not doing that because I kind of want to support them on this venture.
Right.
Make my dollars count, vote with my wallet.
Right.
But I think this is a really cool thing that they're doing. And again, like they've released some other like relatively, I don't want to say big movies, but they have like released larger scale movies. Like they released that Hellboy Crooked Man movie that I think came out last year, the year before,
Reviewed
that literally nobody
badly.
watched.
Yeah, reviewed very badly. Nobody watched. Right.
Yeah.
This is the question I have actually. Like, but yeah, is you going to mention another?
No. That's really the main stuff. They released a few other movies. Like they released, I don't know. There's a movie called Hypnotic, which was directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Ben Affleck. That came out, I think, last year.
I remember that. I never saw it. I think that was also reviewed poorly, if I recall.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like they've been doing this for a while, it seems, just kind of picking up some movies and bringing them out. So I'm not really complaining, and I'm a fan of this. I'm happy that they're doing this.
I'm a fan of it too. I will say this. This is something interesting. The movie test screened well. Coyote versus Acme. I'm having trouble saying coyote today. I'm not sure.
I know. Why are you saying it coyote?
Coyote. I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Like, why aren't you just saying coyote? Like,
it's maybe my slight dyslexia flaring up. I'm not sure.
Coyote.
Which I feel like I have, because I can't read sometimes this document and I don't know what's going on. I think if I was faced with a teleprompter, they'd claim I was senile like Biden for sure.
Yeah.
You know? That's why I always had that argument that like it's harder to read off a teleprompter for some people than it is for others. And I feel like that was always a thing with like Joe Biden, but anybody reading off a teleprompter, I'm not as big on that idea that, you know, they're just, suddenly they have dementia. I think it's more difficult than potentially people realize. But regardless of that, or maybe I'm just not that intelligent. Maybe I'm mentally.
I think you're fairly intelligent, man. Don't put yourself down.
I don't know.
I'd give you a fairly intelligent score.
Coyote versus Acme, buddy.
I was gonna say you should pronounce it Red Dead style. Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah. Coyote versus Acme. All right. But what was I saying now? I've completely lost my train of thought.
I have no idea. Sorry, I interrupted you.
The movie's test screened really well, right? It costed $70 million to make, which isn't that much in today's movie prices when you have that big of a property potentially, I think anyway. And you got some pretty big name actors in there. The question is, Ketchup Entertainment comes in, they swoop in and buy this. Warner Brothers is a very experienced studio, incredibly experienced. Mm-hmm. One of the most experienced. They passed on it. What is it that they see? This is the question when they were going to like dump the movie initially that had me going like, what do you mean? It test screened well. Why would you dump it? Just release it. Isn't it better you release it and make the money from ticket sales if you're going to sell it anyway? And they sold it at a loss of $50 million. So they're thinking they can't even get $50 million from this. That seems crazy. I am going to make a pledge right now. If you're up for it, I want to go see this movie in theaters for sure. Yes. Day one. It is interesting to me. Legitimately, it's not just like a principle thing. I do have interest in the idea of it. I think it's great. I also think that comedy movies don't get to theaters as much anymore, which is kind of crappy. That could be why
like comedy movies did this. Yeah, like comedy movies typically don't do well in theaters in general. So I wonder if it's them just trying to make an educated decision like, hey, you know, this is based on an old property like Looney Tunes. Like it doesn't, to be fair, I don't think Looney Tunes really has as much of a cultural relevance these days as it did, I mean, even 20 years ago. So I think it's probably like a few factors. Comedies don't necessarily do well, no cultural relevance. John Cena, big actor, you know, brings people in, but like, is he really that much of a, you know, movie star that he's going to bring like tens of thousands of people into those theaters? Will Forte, same thing. Like, I really like both of them. I think they're hilarious. I like their movies. Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's interesting. I think this movie is going to do significantly better simply because of all the PR surrounding it, how it was going to come out and then it was written off and now it being repurchased and now being released a few years later. You'd assume that Warner Bros. Would have just kind of played taking a step back and being like, you know what? We actually built up a shit ton of hype for this. We could be viewed as the good guys if we just were like, you know what? Actually, we will release this. We won't write this off.
Right. But they didn't still.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. And they didn't think that they could make more than the $50 million.
Which is weird.
I guess. That's what's so strange to me. But yeah, to close this talk of this purchase up here, I just want to say the quote from Garth West, CEO of Ketchup Entertainment. He says, quote, "We're thrilled to have made a deal with Warner Brothers Pictures to bring this film to audiences worldwide. Coyote vs. Acme is a perfect blend of nostalgia and modern storytelling, capturing the essence of the beloved Looney Tunes characters while introducing them to a new generation. We believe it will resonate with both longtime fans and newcomers alike." Garth West, a hero of our time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we find out he did something terrible.
Yeah, we like him for now.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. No, good on Garth West and his company, Ketchup Entertainment. Good for you, bro. I appreciate what you did here. It's great. I'm gonna watch this in theaters. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, it would be funny if it gets reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes and it's like a 30. Then maybe I'll be less inclined to watch it.
I'll still support it. You know what? Screw it. They made that choice. Let's support it. Anyways.
Yeah. I've never heard of Garth West before. So that's why I said that. I'm like, I don't know who he is. I should probably not just call him a hero for that. But he's a hero for this one thing, and I appreciate him for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Adrian, Amy Pascal, and David Heyman have been tapped as the producers for Amazon's new Bond franchise, James Bond specifically, after Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson vacated their producing responsibilities as the previous stewards of James Bond for MGM Studios, which was purchased by Amazon. Adrian, what do you think of this? Do you have any connection with this? I hesitated about putting this as one of the stories we talk about, one of the quick bite stories, because I know you haven't seen, I don't think, one James Bond movie, or you saw one.
Yeah, I watched Casino Royale. That's the only one. I didn't really like it that much. Yeah.
I love Casino Royale. I think it's excellent, personally. But anyway, do you have anything to say about this? I have a lot to say about this. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but
I mean, I'm curious. Like, I feel like James Bond is one of those properties that has been kind of in the public's eye for, decades, but it's not been a franchise that's been kind of, like drilled into the ground. Like they've taken their time in releasing these things. I mean, it's been like 5-6 years since the last James Bond movie.
The delay is because of the purchase by Amazon, though. In this case, I think it wouldn't be that much time. Normally, it would be like 3 to 5 years potentially. I think.
So yeah, like I don't know. Like for me, I have no attachment to James Bond. I don't really care, to be totally blunt. And as far as I understand, even with like this kind of slower release cycle, not all the James Bond movies have been particularly great. I think you even mentioned it, like even the Daniel Craig like movies, that every second one is not actually good. So it's like it's always been a mixed bag anyways.
I don't think that, but sure. I think the second one is not the best. I think the second one is like I always used to call it like a simulation of a James Bond film, but not a good entertaining James Bond film. That's kind of the way I saw it. But the other two, like Skyfall is excellent. And then Spectre's pretty good. And then the last one I think was pretty good too. I never saw, I think it's No Time to Die.
You never watched it?
No, I never got around to it. I think it was because it was in the middle of COVID or just the tail end of COVID or something like that. It's 2021, yeah. And so I just never got around to it. But I intended to see it. It's got Rami Malek in it too. Pretty cool. And Ana de Armas, whom we just talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's reviewed. They're all reviewed fairly well. I think the only one that's reviewed kind of poorly is the second one, which is the Quantum of Solace.
Yeah. So I mean, tell me, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because
just like on a like a, I guess, backstory perspective,
please.
Just because I think this whole story is interesting on the perspective of like inside the industry as opposed to the outside, if you don't like James Bond as an example. But Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, they're like step siblings, basically. They're the person who passed down the basically the stewardship within MGM was Albert Cubby Broccoli, who was their father. And so they were stewarding great names. I know, I can see it on your face. But they were stewarding the franchise for years and years and years, pretty much since the beginning. And the thing is that MGM Studios was purchased by Amazon. Jeff Bezos, took a big swing and he's like, I'm going to buy this. And he did. They bought it. And then Barbara Broccoli was working with, apparently, this is all allegedly based on the reporting that's happened from the Wall Street Journal, I think mostly, and the Hollywood Reporter. But Barbara Broccoli was working with the MGM not really the MGM execs, it was the Amazon execs. A woman by the name of Jennifer Salke, specifically, actually. She called the James Bond franchise to Barbara Broccoli, she called it content, which naturally pissed her off because she sees it as art and something they're making every few years. And the Amazon folks were trying to make, apparently, they were trying to make films and TV shows about random side characters like CIA agent Felix Leiter and James Bond's secretary Moneypenny was going to be a TV show, apparently. Which I already see as a problem. So I'm like, that's stupid. There's no point in that. And you made a good point there where they only release the movies so infrequently that people are kind of excited for it. And it's actually a good way to do this franchise, I think. I think that's actually a smart move. It also costs a lot to make these movies. One of the best things about James Bond, from my perspective, is the budget. They don't really spare expense, and they get the details right, and they go on location. They don't seem to use a lot of CG, and they do a lot of the stunts there and with stuntmen, and that's so cool. For instance, a great example of this, in Casino Royale, they did a car roll, and at the time that won the record for most rolls of a car in a movie. I don't know if you know that. And so that was really cool. And so that kind of thing, and the action's often really good. I really enjoy that aspect of it, and it's kind of great that it comes out every so often. I don't know that they could really make the money they think they're going to make, and maybe they run the franchise into the ground, and they can't really tell that many stories within the spy universe. Spy things aren't that frequent. We're going to talk about one actually shortly, but they're not that frequent, and I'm confused as to whether that is something that they can see them making millions of dollars on, but making multiple spin-off things when James Bond is really the title character. We haven't had a James Bond video game in a while. IO Interactive, the guys who made the Hitman series, are making a James Bond game, which I think is the perfect fit because Hitman is kind of that spy shit as well. So it's really cool. So we'll see how that does. But regardless of that, yeah, I think this is a little silly. Anyway, Barbara Broccoli, she called the Amazon execs fucking idiots. That was in a Wall Street Journal reporting that Mr. Jeff Bezos saw. He didn't like that. And he said, apparently, I don't care what it costs. Get rid of her. And then
it's very villainous.
What?
It's like a villain line.
Right. And I mean, he does kind of come off as a James Bond-like villain if you look at him. But anyway, regardless of that's apparently what happened. And then they're not going to just go like lying down. They're not going to just leave because they care about this, and they never really wanted to let them just run amok with the franchise that they've stewarded very carefully. The thing about Hollywood is that they kind of really like them, just generally. Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli are treated with a lot of respect because they do things meticulously, and there's a lot of belief that they know James Bond more than anyone else, and it shows. Like, there's a good example of this too is Edward Berger, who directed. We got a lot of food names here.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, burger, broccoli.
It's a burger with an E, but regardless of that, Berger. But yeah, regardless of that,
Michael Sausage.
Sure. But Berger directed Conclave, which could have won Best Picture theoretically because it was nominated, and All Quiet on the Western Front, which are great movies. So he was apparently in talks to direct the next Bond film, but then the Amazon purchase happened, and then he's now not interested. So that's already like a thing. So there is some kind of weird animosity against Amazon, some fronts there. Maybe it's because of Broccoli's animosity towards them. Who knows what maybe broke those talks. But Osgood Perkins also was interviewed recently, and he was kind of asked, would you ever direct that? Was that something you would ever consider? And he apparently said, fuck Bezos. I think that's what he said.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, no, I'm not doing that because of Amazon. So it's like, it's so crazy. It's just like that kind of, Well, I don't know if Osgood Perkins would necessarily make a good James Bond movie. He's a good director, but I'm not sure that I would necessarily want him. Apparently, Christopher Nolan was in talks to do James Bond, but maybe Broccoli actually stopped that one. I don't know if that happened or not, but I would imagine that would have been amazing. That would have been so cool. And I wonder, now going to modern times, to today, we have David Heyman who produced the Harry Potter franchise, and we've got Amy Pascal who produced the Spider-Man movies, among many others.
Mm-hmm.
These are two huge producers that have made big properties.
Mm-hmm.
Would they try to hire Christopher Nolan after Odyssey to maybe direct? That would be really cool. I would line up for that. I will just say, I don't want them to run this into the ground. I don't want them to make that many things, because I don't know how many iterations of this series you can really make that make sense. Like, a lot of people say this about Marvel, but for me, Marvel is interesting because it's like a genre. And I've said this before, where there's so many different directors in the kitchen, and they can make different kind of movies. More comedic, more dramatic, very in space, not in space, more grounded, like a spy movie. You have so many options, but for James Bond, you have a spy movie. You have to make a spy TV show or a movie each time. And I think the high budget aspect of it is like, are you going to really spend that much money on a TV show about Moneypenny? Like, I don't think so. And are you going to really film this on location? When, for a good example, actually, Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings thing, they spent a lot of money on that. And then they moved, from my understanding, the entire production to a set in England, as opposed to doing anything on location. They may be doing some things on location, but they moved a lot of it to a set. That's not interesting. Are they going to move James Bond so it's going to not be doing their stunts on location? That kind of defeats the magic of it. There's a certain magic you can tell in James Bond movies, and you watch any of them, it's like, wow, this is real. It feels real. But anyway, sorry, you were going to say something, and
I forget what I was going to say, but it brings me the whole filming on set. Just a quick question, because you watched Rings of Power. Did they do that for season 2, where they started filming on set? And was it noticeable? Could you tell there's visual disparities between season 1 and 2?
Couldn't. I wonder if they hadn't started it yet. Maybe they had already gotten through season 2. I have to look into that, because that is a good question, because I didn't really notice it to that extent. So I was like, what was the difference? That was actually something that I thought about. I'm like, oh, interesting. But some of it you could kind of tell was on set anyway in the first season. So I'm not sure. It's a great question. I'll look into that, because that is a good point. But
yeah.
But that show does look really good. That's the best thing about it, is how it looks.
I hope so, for how much it fucking costs, dude. Isn't it
a
few $100 million an episode?
It feels and looks, and the music is great too, and the sound effects and stuff like that. I enjoyed that show. I don't think it's anywhere close to Jackson's movies, but it's great. It's
better than the Hobbit movies.
Yes, actually. That's a good point. I don't like the Hobbit movies. I think they're incredibly drawn out, but the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies, the trilogy, is crazy good. So you're not getting close to that. But yeah, the Hobbit, he spread it too thin. It should have been 2 movies. I think 2 movies was fair. As soon as you moved it to 3, I was like, no. And that last movie I really didn't like. I thought the battle was incomprehensible. They try to fill as much time as possible from my perspective. But
I don't even watch that last movie.
Oh, you didn't even see it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I watched the first 2, and it's funny because the second one ends in a pretty good place. I was like, oh, I'm curious about that. And then I just never watched the third. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I won't ever. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. I don't know. It is interesting. I'm curious. And I think you texted it to me when you mentioned Amy Pascal being tapped as a producer. Didn't you text me Tom Holland as James Bond ? I assume you were joking, but you might be real.
I was joking, but it's not impossible. So the one thing I think that there's a few things that Broccoli didn't want to bend on. One of them is it has to be a British person to be James Bond. And there was another thing. It should be male. I think it was their thing as well. So it should be male and British. It was the 2 things, because and I kind of agree with this. James Bond is fundamentally male. It's hard to do it. He's a womanizer. You flip it, it doesn't
Simon,
really work.
Lesbians exist.
I know, but it's a different character then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That one, I think you have to switch the character. There are certain things you can switch the gender, and I think like the Ghostbusters. Actually, I like that Ghostbusters. I watched that recently. I don't know if
I never watched any Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, you haven't seen any? Oh, okay.
No.
The female Ghostbusters actually was. I really enjoyed it personally. I thought it was pretty funny. Like Ghostbusters is not a series I'm that into, to be honest. I like the first one enough, but I thought that they did a good job, and I thought the casting was cool, and I thought Chris Hemsworth was hilarious. He's ridiculous, and how they play off Chris Hemsworth. But yeah, regardless of that, they were gonna apparently Amazon wanted to do a female Bond spinoff as well, and Broccoli was like, "No, we're not doing that because it fundamentally changes the character. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna honor the legacy of James Bond." And there was like rumors that Aaron Taylor Johnson was in the running. That might still happen. People thought maybe Tom Hardy at some point. They thought, who are the other people that
Idris Elba? I remember was like a name thrown around.
Oh, man, that would have been so good. But I think they're gonna go for a younger Bond, so they won't do Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Idris Elba would have been good when they were talking about this years ago. But it was I think it was even before No Time to Die that they were rumoring Idris Elba would
definitely
would be in it.
Yeah. So but, with the Bond again, I don't know much about this franchise, but like it's 007. I assume there's 001 through 6, and is there 008 ongoing as well? Like there's multiple agents, so like theoretically, again, I know it is just a spy franchise, and you'd be making kind of similar things. It's different spy movies, but like, couldn't they do like a 004 and it's like some woman that's doing stuff? I don't know if people would watch it, but like, isn't there potential for that sort of stuff? And I do get your comparison, like with Marvel, like they can go to space. There's like different there's multiverses. There's so many different ways you can take the story. And James Bond is supposed to be set in reality with some cool gadgets and stuff. And, you know, it is a spy franchise at the end of the day. You can only do so many spy movies. Like, but is there potential for that sort of?
Sure. There is, but the question is, can you market it? Will people watch it? Like what appetite, what is the appetite of the public to go see that in theaters? The advantage of doing something, there is an advantage of spreading it out, as you mentioned, of doing a pop every so often. People are into it. They want to see the next James Bond. If you do it too often, sometimes you lose it. And a great example of this, although it's also mutated in other ways for different reasons, but Star Wars movies just haven't done as well, especially after The Last Jedi. Solo, like that Solo movie that with Han Solo.
The Han Solo solo movie called Solo, a Star Wars story.
I was queuing you up there. But yeah, exactly. That movie, I actually quite liked. I enjoyed it. And people didn't like it, and it wasn't watched. Like they didn't like it for stupid reasons, I think. But they also, and some valid ones. It wasn't necessarily. It's not nearly as good as the movie that was before, which was The Last Jedi.
Agreed.
But people didn't go see it, and that was the problem, is they didn't go watch it. And I don't think it was marketed particularly well because it came out a few months after The Last Jedi, which just wasn't it was not good timing. And so you kind of have to spread it out better. Now this is insane. It's been since 2019 we've had a single Star Wars movie at all. That's dumb. Like every 3 to 5 years is a good pop. Just like actually Avatar's in a similar boat, except their gaps are 10 years. But it's smart to kind of gap them out. It is a smart idea. So you could do that, but it's like, at what point will people stop watching it? You have to be careful with that. And doing a TV show, I have no interest in a money penny TV show. Unless you like throw Damon Lindelof in there, like, and you have some crazy great idea. Like, you have to show me that this is good. This just sounds like a bunch of execs at the top saying, "Oh, what if we do this? What if we make a movie about Q making gadgets?" And he makes a bunch of gadgets, and he's got a gadget factory, and we could show he'll have a cool sidekick named Zed, and he'll make gadgets with him. No, that's not.
And everyone that works in the factory has to piss in bottles when they want to go to the bathroom, and they're not allowed to take breaks.
Whoa, shots fired. But yeah, like I love Q. As a kid, that was my favorite character in James Bond. But I don't think they should make a whole movie franchise after him. It's something being novel sometimes markets itself. So you kind of have to be strategic as you sell things. That is important. And so that's my feedback on that. But yeah, you could do 001 through 7 and make a movie about everyone. But you have to change them up a little bit. And I think the budget also is a lot. So you kind of You have to make sure that the budget makes sense with the timeline for the pop and the marketing budget and all that stuff so that you can make the most while also making something good. If you're just trying to spread it out and make low budget or lower budget things and then try to make as many things as possible because you think people will still watch crap anyway, that's a whole different thing I'm not a fan of. And I think you're not as well. But yeah, James Bond. We'll see what happens. It was interesting to see Amy Pascal and David Heyman. That was the big news piece, is that we knew about the rest of it for a bit. It was weird. Like at the Oscars, they did a tribute to Barbara Broccoli, who was in the audience, and they did like this whole tribute. And she was already out at that point. Like she had just like a week before had just decided that she would take the allegedly $1 billion. By the way, did we say that part? Is that she was rumored to be paid $1 billion? That was the negotiation. I mean, the man said, I don't care what it costs, get rid of her. So I guess if it doesn't matter, $1 billion is what I'll take. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, is their life's work. So it is, there's a passion there that I really admire about Broccoli and Wilson. I think that's the cool thing is when people are passionate about this and the Hollywood as a whole respects them like quite a bit. That's where it's sad that this has happened, but it's cool that really experienced producers are coming in. But is it not possible that Tom Holland becomes James Bond?
I can see it because again, Amy Pascal seems to very much like Tom Holland, and they had that sort of partnership in like across Sony. Like he's Nathan Drake in Uncharted. He's Spider-Man. He does a lot of these like Sony things that are the things that Amy Pascal is a part of. So you might not be wrong. I feel like
it's a bad choice though, from my perspective.
Yes. I feel like, again, I like Tom Holland as an actor. I think he's great.
Me too.
It'd be kind of weird to see him play, because again, from my knowledge of James Bond is from Casino Royale. James Bond's a fucking asshole. He sucks, dude. He's a prick. I don't like him.
You got to reinvent him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Craig was a reinvention as well.
Mm-hmm. My mom mentioned that to me. Like, it's like, oh, this is the first James Bond movie where like he actually like has a like a love. Like he like respects women in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like enough to fall in love with a woman.
Yeah.
Right. He respects a woman enough to fall in love with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And again, quick aside, before we move on, just because we brought up Amy Pascal, I'm going to bring up the studio again. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Catherine O'Hara's character in the studio is based on Amy Pascal.
Really?
And and Seth Rogen's character, like in the studio, is her replacement. That's how the show starts, is that he replaces Catherine O'Hara's position. Oh. And there's the rumbling that like Catherine O'Hara is based on that. I think Vulture reported on it. I don't know. Let me just double check. Yeah, Vulture reported on it. IndieWire reported on it.
Okay.
And apparently, like on the wrap.
How much is Catherine O'Hara in it? Like a lot?
She's in both the first two episodes that I watched.
Is she great in it?
She is amazing. I love Catherine O'Hara. She's
Are they lampooning Amy Pascal? Is that the idea?
I think so. In a weird way,
everything's being lampooned. It's a comedy about how ridiculous Hollywood studios are, I imagine. But like, how are they really making her look?
They're playing her up, but they're showing how competent she is as well. Like,
okay,
like I think there's a fine balance. It's a comedic role, but they're also highlighting like, no, like she knows her stuff. She's really great in the industry. She has respect.
Okay,
so cool. Like her being replaced, it's really cool. I highly recommend it, man. I think you're gonna love it. The second episode in particular, it's called the Oneer, is what it's called.
Oh, cool.
And the entire episode is filmed as a one continuous take. It's amazing. It's great. Amazing. Yeah, it's brilliant. Fantastic.
That's exciting. Okay, cool.
Genuinely hilarious and anxiety inducing to the utmost degree.
Yeah.
I think I've read online like people were saying like this is The Bear, but for the movie industry. Okay. And I can kind of see the reflection where it's just very anxiety inducing, yet still very funny. And
one shot things as well, like on a aside, one shot episodes or one shot movies have the potential to have a lot of anxiety inducing aspects. Like The Bear, as an example, that one episode of The Bear is probably the most anxiety inducing episode where they do a oneer. They do one shot. It seems like, I'm sure they're using tricks, but it seems like it's one shot the whole time. and they can really play that up because Birdman has some anxiety aspects as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Uncut Gems was one shot. Oh my God.
Dude, I don't think I would be able to watch that movie. I'll be honest with you. I barely made it through the first 15 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
then like once you get over that hump, I'm in it. But I remember like leaving that theater and talking to you about it. I was like, dude, I didn't know if I can make it through that first 10 minutes or so. It was information overload. Like all my senses were firing in all the worst ways.
Yeah, it wasn't exposition. You're saying it was just like you were overloaded.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. One last piece of news to talk about here. And this one's really interesting to me too, like really interesting. I think it probably is for you as well. As reported by publication The Playlist, director David Fincher of The Killer and Seven and Fight Club fame will likely be directing the Quentin Tarantino script for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel, The Movie Critic, a movie centered on Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth, from Tarantino's 2019 film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino was initially meant to direct The Movie Critic as his 10th and final film, but he decided against it. And so then he not really didn't really shop it around, but Brad Pitt, I think, read the script, and then he had Fincher read it. Obviously with Tarantino's permission. And this seems like it's happening, which is wild. This will be a really neat thing. The thing is that Tarantino seems to be very timid about making his last movie in general, but also making his last movie not amazing. Like it, like blow your socks off amazing. And my question is there anything that he would accept? I don't know. This is so much pressure from my perspective. He said in an interview something about along the lines of like, the last thing I do has to be a mic drop. Like I'm gonna go out with a huge bang and that's it. And then they're gonna look at my body of work and say, how can I top that? It was basically what he said. And he also said that he wanted to retire before he's 60. He's now 61 and he hasn't directed a movie since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which came out in 2019. So I don't know. I'm curious, but I really enjoy David Fincher's movies. I like them a lot, actually. I think every movie he's made that I've seen, I've really liked. I didn't watch the Alien movie that he made.
Didn't he like disown that movie? Like, didn't he specifically say like that wasn't my movie? And
oh, did he say? Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, I thought you meant more like I wish I didn't make that. But he's saying that the execs kind of meddled with it?
I think I remember him just essentially just disowning that movie entirely, being like, no, that wasn't my flick. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, any thoughts on this? I know you like Tarantino. You might not like Fincher as much as, definitely not as much as I do, I think, because you didn't like Mank as an example. But
I did not.
But yeah, what did you think of this? Did you read anything about this or?
Yeah, the one thing that you left out is it's interesting because I think David Fincher, from the looks of it, has a very good relationship with Netflix because this movie is a Netflix movie as well.
A Netflix movie,
which is interesting.
Yeah. He does have a great, because Mindhunter and The Killer and Mank all under Netflix. So
so I'm curious if he has some kind of relationship with Netflix that he like the movies that he comes out with or in the content that he makes has to go to Netflix, like a deal like that. But this is interesting because again, I think we talked about this last episode, but we both really like Once a Time in Hollywood. It might be my favorite Tarantino movie. And Brad Pitt's character Cliff Booth is awesome. Like he's you could make the argument that he's the best part in it. But again, Leonardo DiCaprio was fantastic. It is kind of sad that it seems like Leonardo DiCaprio's character isn't coming back, but from the looks of it, what year did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood take place? Because if I recall correctly, The Movie Critic was supposed to take place in the 70s about like the porn industry, right? Like, but it was going to be a
critic about who worked for I think the quote was he worked for a porn rag writing reviews for movies, but it was Cliff Booth.
Yeah. That character.
It's just so interesting. So it's like Cliff Booth is the movie critic, which I'd never read until I saw this story about it getting picked up. I gotta check. It's the 70s, right?
Am I starting it? Yeah,
or maybe it's the 60s.
Yeah, it's set in 1969. Yeah, it is. So yeah, so like this would actually be like a sequel to it, and I'm curious like if they're gonna make any mention of it. But yeah, no, I'm sold on this. Again, like Tarantino writing, David Fincher, although again I didn't love Mank, like he has an amazing directing style, and I think he has far more hits than misses in all of his movies. I haven't watched many of them, to be fair. But again, Brad Pitt coming back for this. I think this is kind of a match made in heaven. It's rare that you see these two big creatives kind of partner in a way like this, because I feel like David Fincher movies are not similar to Tarantino movies. So I'm curious how he's going to kind of adapt Tarantino's writing style to his directing style.
That's the most interesting part. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And the dialogue Tarantino writes is so fantastic too, in the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really it's really fascinating. I'm super excited. If this maybe this will fall through in some way. It seemed like they were talking about it in some articles, like there was a sure thing, but then some they weren't quite sure. So I'm super curious. But I'm very excited because I love David Fincher. Like I legitimately, he's one of my favorite directors. I think I've watched almost everything. I did not watch the Alien movie, as I mentioned. I don't know if I missed anything. I've seen Seven. I've seen Zodiac. You've seen Fight Club, I assume.
Yeah, I've seen Seven as well. I think that was my first David Fincher movie, which stars Brad Pitt.
Right. So they have a really good relationship. That's how this came to pass. Is that Brad Pitt's like apparently in The Killer, Brad Pitt decided not to take the role. Fassbender's so good in it though that I'm like, oh, good. Okay, yeah. No problem. I don't know what the Brad Pitt version would have looked like. I'm super actually curious about that, but yeah, Fassbender was excellent in the Killer, but apparently Brad Pitt was the one to take that role, and then he turned it down, and then Fassbender took it. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, anyway, I'm excited about this. It's really interesting.
Fantastic.
All right, cool. My friend, it is time now to move on to what we've been watching. Oh, you're giving me a finger.
I just want to run to the bathroom.
Oh, you're going potty. Okay.
Yeah, potty time. Thanks.
Potty time.
I always try to like line it up before you do the transition, but I don't want to like be like, hey, wait, stop right there.
You know what you gotta do?
Like, what do you want me to do?
You can there's a little on Zencaster. There's a like where we record this. There's a little like raise hand option. You could do that, or you can have a sign that says "I need to go to the bathroom." You know,
like this.
Yeah, I can see it now. You're jingling. But yeah, if you've put like make a sign, like a big sign with a Sharpie that says "I need to go potty." Poo poo pee pee. Or you could write it in because we have a chat. That'd be cool.
I forgot about the
sign.
Chat.
I'd be really see you. I sometimes miss the chat. You put things in the chat and I don't even notice for like an hour. Anyway, chat, go to the bathroom. We're wasting the audience's time here.
Okay, I'll be back. Quick. My legs.
Adrian has gotten up and left, and his legs seem fine. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Apologies, my friend. I'm back. Apologies.
Jesus Christ, what the hell? Okay. All right. While you were in the bathroom, I was just taking a look at what the reasons were that David Zaslav was not happy with the performance at Warner Brothers. And I couldn't remember which movies failed. Do you remember? I looked it up. I just want to see if
The Flash, Aquaman 2,
more recently,
Shazam 2,
within the last year and a half. No,
I can't think of a single Warner Brothers movie in the last year and a half.
Mickey 17.
Oh yeah, Mickey 17 did that.
Well.
Mad Max.
No,
Furiosa.
Mad Max did okay, I think. Well, fine, but the other big failure was the Joker movie. Folie à Deux.
Oh, Jonker, yeah.
Jonker. Did you ever watch that? Because I feel like we should watch that.
No.
Yeah, okay. We'll watch it one day. But anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there.
It's funny because I remember watching the trailers and I was fairly soft on the first Joker movie. I liked it. I didn't love it as much as everyone else did. I thought it was good. And watching the trailers for Joker 2, I was like, man, this looks intolerable. Like I was like, I cannot handle this trailer. It just looks so up its ass. But then everyone hated it. And I'm like, maybe I would like this actually. I don't know. It's that weird like contrarian in me.
Yeah.
Where
the hipster in you is flaring up.
Yeah. Where I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I just like I feel like a lot of the mass population, they just like jump on thing. Like, someone will say like, this sucks or whatever. And then like people will be like, this is the worst thing ever.
People who haven't seen it. That's my biggest criticism of the internet now. Like, people don't watch a movie and a TV show. They don't play a game, and then they're going to criticize it online or criticize it to you in person, which happens to me all the time. And I say, oh, have you played that game? And they're like, no, I haven't played it. Oh, have you watched that movie? Have you watched The Acolyte? Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. And then I instantly say, it's actually not as bad as you think. Yeah. And they're like, I don't think so. Jimmy the Boob on YouTube said that it's bad. Good old Jimmy the Boob, everyone's favorite.
I mean that was my experience with Dragon Age: The Veilguard as well. Like, I played that and I was like, this is actually like a good game. Like, this is actually quite good. But everyone's like, this is the worst thing ever created.
Right? Yeah,
like it's
the worst thing ever created. And then when you talk to those people, you're like, oh, what didn't you like about it? Oh, I'm like, oh, I haven't played it. I just heard lots of people talk about it. I saw those clips. I saw that one clip that keeps floating around. Like, that one clip that just goes around and around and around. It's like, this is like a 50-hour game, right? Like, that one clip that's 30 seconds is not the game. It's no. In fact, none of it actually is none of the gameplay at all. But anyway.
Yeah, just a cutscene. It is very poorly written. I will highlight that. But like
the one cutscene.
Yeah, there's a lot of poorly written pieces of that game. Again, we're not a video game podcast, but I think like as a whole, it's good, man. I liked it, and I was kind of sad when I finished it for a few reasons, but
for sure. Okay, it is now time to move on to what we've been watching this week. Adrian, I'll throw it to you. What have you watched this week? Let's just go through the things we didn't watch together and then jump into the things we watched together at the end. How's that sound?
Did not. Oh, okay, we're switching it up. We're doing it differently.
We usually start? No, we usually start with the things we didn't watch together.
I feel like we usually start with what we joined.
I don't think so.
Whatever. I'm going to flip a coin.
For what? Are you going to talk about the things that we did watch? We can do that.
Heads.
I'm good with it.
Heads. That means, I don't know. I just flipped the coin. So I watched a few things.
Yeah.
I watched a few things. One I'm actually going to save because it kind of ties into one of the joint review things that we did watch together, Simon, funnily enough. Okay. I talked a little bit about The Studio. Yes. Yeah, really good. Highly recommend it. I've been getting back into anime again, Simon. Okay. I think I talked about it. I don't remember how long ago. I was watching the anime Jujutsu Kaisen. I got back into it.
Okay.
Second season. Significantly better than the first season, and they have this movie that kind of bridges the gap. It's kind of a prequel, and I watched the movie. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. It's on Netflix. Pretty good, actually. I was into it, and a lot of my issues with this anime, and honestly, a lot of anime still stands. It's like a shonen anime, similar to like Naruto and stuff like that, where they always over-explain everything. And I think the biggest issue with a lot of anime is ultimately the writing and not necessarily the plot threads that are going on and like the ideas, but how it is conveyed to the audience. It'll be like, oh, my power actually gets more powerful if I tell you more about my power. And it's because of me telling you about this power that my power, blah, 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 blah. And it's like just so drawn out. And every time that happens, which is unfortunately quite frequently in the show, I get thrown out of it a bit. But the ongoing plot is actually quite entertaining, and the fight scenes and the animation is really it's stellar. It's beautiful. So like if you are kind of into that, over the top like anime, artistry, it's something that I guess I could recommend. But again, if you are someone like I would never recommend this to you, Simon, as an example. You're not much of an anime guy. Like I would never in a million years recommend this to. Honestly, most of my friends that don't watch anime, but people that are willing to kind of deal with the tropiness with that like typical sort of writing, I think it's worth watching. I'm not a huge anime fan. Ultimately, like all things considered, I feel like I watch maybe an anime series a year and kind of get into it. I'm way more into
anime games in some way.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I'm way more into the Japanese role-playing games, Personas, like Persona 3, 4, 5, and that's very anime, and like they have anime tropes, but I think the writing in those games is substantially better than most anime that I actually sit down and watch passively. So yeah, like I'm into it. I've kind of broken into it. I'm kind of watching a few episodes here and there on Crunchyroll. I reactivated my subscription, so can't complain. And then what else? I'm still watching the OC. We're on season 2, halfway through season 2. Me and my fiance. So soapy. So it's just like a wacky early 2000s, teenage drama, but also there's the adults there. And I think I mentioned this last episode. I'm way more invested in the adult drama than the kid drama.
Right.
But yeah, that's really kind of the main stuff. I'm still watching. I watched another episode of Mythic Quest.
Okay. Is it good?
I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate. Like I'm way softer. I think season 3 really kind of, pulled the rug out from under me and like kind of showed that show's flaws. And I was hoping
like they
that
just didn't do a good enough job with season 3.
I agree.
It kind of meanders. It's a meandering season. Mm-hmm. It's like they focused more on Always Sunny in Philadelphia because that's like largely the creative team from that show, and they kind
Charlie
of
Day.
like Rob McElhenney. And isn't the dude with blonde hair the what's his name? The guy with the mustache. What's his name?
Yeah. Oh man, why am I forgetting that
guy?
Name?
He's the writer for.
Yeah,
he's a writer on Always Sunny as well. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. He is. So, he's also a character on It's Always Sunny. Hilarious character.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is he like a recurring character or is he in it
recurring? Yeah. He's
in it a few times.
He shows up every every season for a couple episodes, and every season he gets like more and more disheveled. It's genuinely it's brilliant. It's a good running joke. But the episode I did watch, it's interesting because I actually liked this episode arguably the most of the season, but it still wasn't enough to fully carry me back in. And the funny part about it is this episode was one of those episodes where it's not about the main cast. It's actually about like a more minor character. Charlie Day is actually introduced into the show and is like introduced as a character, which is pretty neat to see him in there. And it was a really good episode. I was actually like pretty into it. But then the next episode started and it's back to the main cast. And I was like, I'm just not in the mood for this right now. I don't like Poppy Lee, like the main character. I find her so annoying this season. I don't know why. There's something about her delivery that I feel grating. Like it's grating. And like the way her and Ian, who is played by McElhenney, like I just don't think they have that chemistry anymore. I don't know. There was something that was special in those first 2 seasons. And now it's just like, it's the same thing, arguably over and over again. And I'm like, I'm just not into this anymore. I don't like you guys as characters. I don't find you funny. It's everyone surrounding you that is significantly better. Like Ashley Birch is a standout actually in this season. I feel like she gets way more play, and like they bring up like these like her character, it just becomes way more wacky this season, like talking about crazy conspiracy theories, and it's really funny. So like there's some like really good jokes sprinkled throughout, but I think every time the focus is back on the 2 main characters with Poppy Lee and Ian, I just get pulled out of it, and I just don't really want to continue watching, unfortunately.
There's something to be said about season 3 from my recollection. It's been a while since I saw the show now at this point, but from what I remember, it felt like those 2 characters are show drivers. They're like an avenue to drive the plot forward, but unfortunately it feels now that they meander and they don't drive the plot. And I wonder if like on a direction perspective with season 4, I'll have to see it, I guess. But I'm like, I felt like season 1 and 2, there were things that we knew we were getting toward, and they seemed like they had a plan. And season 3 didn't feel like there was a plan. It was a bunch of random things happening in various aspects of the characters' lives. That's not why I watch a TV show typically. I like plot threads that continue as opposed to a sitcom. Like I don't know. I'm not interested in Big Bang Theory. I want to see things move forward on a perspective of where are we going with the plot. It felt like, especially season 3, like there were moments where they were building that Roblox thing, and it's like, this is gonna fail. I can tell you that right now. Like, stop doing it. We knew it was gonna go there, and it just didn't. It didn't move in a direction that I felt was, I don't know. It felt like anything was happening. If that makes sense. I want things to happen in a TV show I watch. Like Severance, like a lot happens. Like things keep moving, and that's important. I wonder if that's the case with season 4. But again, you would tell me that.
Yeah, I mean, like things are happening. Like some plot threads are moving forward. They're introducing new, like different elements. But
you
again,
see a goal, like an end goal. I'm talking about like the light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see where the season can end, or where the series can end? And that's the thing that is important to me. Like it's good to have episodic episodes where something might happen, and that's fine. But I do want to see where you might see yourself at the end of the show, unless every moment to moment second is is excellent, like watching The Office. But that's a network show, and it's designed as that. You watching is episodic because every show stands on its own. I prefer that nowadays, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And if the jokes don't land in every like facet, like for instance in Poppy Lee's case, then you feel like, well, those are show drivers. If they're not even moving the plot forward, what's the point? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I'm planning on watching Mythic Quest season 4, so we'll see.
Yeah. Did you know, actually, quick aside, because I was scrolling through Apple TV, they had a thing that actually just released middle of March called Side Quest.
Right. They have the spinoff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like 5 episodes that are like kind of standalone stories. And I'm curious. I was like, I'm kind of tempted to watch this because the best episodes of Mythic Quest are when they don't follow the main cast and they're almost like a side plot. So I'm curious.
They kind of do follow the main cast in some way in one of them, but they're doing it in a way that's completely unrelated to the overall overarching story. Like they had it. That the great thing about those episodes is that that's exactly the idea. They have a beginning, middle, and end, and you can see where they're going with it in a beautiful way. It's gorgeous. Like those are one of the episodes is like, actually both of them. The one about the writer, played by Murray, F. Murray. What's his first name? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. Regardless of that, and then there's the one about the old studio, like the beginning of the video game software craze. That's so excellent. Oh my goodness,
that's a great episode.
It's so good. But they had a plan and they executed it, as opposed to this show, which I feel like one episode could be good and then the other one's not good. It's like you need to kind of have like you got to move the plot forward, and then also you have to, and then every beat has to be funny. If not, if you're going to play it like The Office or Parks and Recreation or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it's a network TV show style, or Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you have to blow us away. And it's not an Always Funny. Obviously, it's not Always Sunny, because it's Always Sunny is much more mature and goes places that are shocking. I know, but
very much
you can't do that with this. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting. It's too bad.
Yeah,
it's too bad it fell off a bit. If that's the case, I got to check it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't actually looked online at the reviews. Maybe I'm in the minority. But I don't know. This just it's not grabbing me as much anymore. But yeah, that's really the main stuff that I watched. That's kind of outside of what you and I watched. So what did you watch, my friend?
I have watched too many things. I'm gonna try to skim through them a little bit. I finished Slow Horses season 3. Excellent, just really great. Each Slow Horses season is only 6 episodes. It's like a classic show shot in the UK. Which is great. So it's more, I guess, it's more accessible, manageable, which is great. I also finished Silo season 2. I have no more seasons for that because I'm waiting for the 3rd season. What an awesome finale! It is excellent. It also, the show, I don't know if I made this connection before. It kind of reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn in some interesting way. Like the way series. The way it goes into like the subtle, like the science fiction aspects. I shouldn't say it's not subtle. It's pretty science fiction, but it is the way it relates to science fiction. That's what's really neat about it. Tim Robbins, not Tim Robinson. Tim Robbins and Rebecca Ferguson kill it throughout. It's really great. There's also the politics within it, in the intra-silo politics. You know about this plot, right? People are trapped in a silo and they don't know why. And it's arguably in the future, but we don't know. Is it an alternate history? We don't understand. They're living underground in this giant silo, and they're trying to figure out why potentially, but they're not really encouraged to figure out why. So it's kind of like secret, and there's almost like a secret police in there. But there's the government. There's a government in this entire silo, and it's very structured, and they follow something called the Pact. And they follow this religion essentially, and they make food in there, and they show you kind of throughout the show how they make food and how they live in this silo. Actually, kind of similar to Severance in this way. It's like, how could it be possible that they live underground? And they kind of explain it to you, which is really neat. But there's a certain unrest that begins, and then what comes of that is kind of what the show is answering. And there's a bunch of mysteries. It is a mystery show as well. Like why are they here? How do they, like, what happens if they leave?
How did they get there?
Right,
the show that asks you how you got there. I don't know if you remember that. That's an interdimensional cable reference from Rick and Morty. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Yeah. But yeah, the thing is that's interesting too is if they say that they want to go out, if they go, they can leave the silo, but then they die theoretically. This is what they say. Well, they do.
Mhm.
They die. You see them die in on the camera feed. So you're like, oh, okay, so you wouldn't want to go out. But the people who break serious laws, they get forced to go out. And so that's kind of the thing. The actors are crazy. It's like a great cast it's an ensemble cast, and the music's great. I don't know if I said that already, but Atli Orverson's score, excellent. I
Nailed the
recommend
pronunciation.
this. I'm sure I did. Apple TV Plus, another science fiction thing on Apple TV Plus. They're killing it with science fiction. It's great. I recommend it to most people. Maybe it's good for you too, but I'm not recommending it to you specifically. I think you would like this one though. So I'm like, should I just break?
Is this going to be your recommendation to me?
This is the recommendation.
I don't know. You've been a little gun shy to give me those recommendations, Simon.
In comparison to Severance, though, I will say this: it is a lot slower. It is a lot slower paced, and that's an okay thing. The politics is a big part of this, versus it being more so about answering the science fiction aspects, and they're not trucking the plot along as quickly. I will say that, but yeah, definitely recommend it. Shogun, I won't jump back into because I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows and it takes place in the exact same time period. So I jump back into it to watch a few more episodes and I'll actually finish Shogun this time. It's so good. Also, I didn't know this. The music in Shogun is by Nick Chuba, Leopold Ross, and Atticus Ross, his brother. So the two brothers are making this, and you can tell. And the reason why I think I checked this is because I was like, this sounds a little bit like Reznor and Ross, but it's like not really though. And I look, and then I don't know if I just caught it at the end. I paid attention to the credits, and I'm like, oh, that's why, because Atticus Ross is literally a part of it. But it is so fundamentally different. This team up of three composers also did the composition for the TV show Dr. Death, which I'm interested in because I listened to the podcast Dr. Death, and that's crazy shit, man. If you want to hear listen to a kind of like a documentary type podcast, crazy shit. It's insane. The first season of Dr. Death, as a podcast, I was shocked. I'm like, yeah, that's super unfortunate. It's about malpractice essentially, but it's a specific malpractice in each season. So it's definitely worth a listen to. The cast of the show is pretty crazy too. I never caught the show, but it's got Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin and what's that guy's name? The guy from Dawson's Creek. Ugh, can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about? The main guy from Dawson's Creek?
I never watched Dawson's Creek. I'm more of the OC guy. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, it's not the main guy. I'm so sorry. It's not the main guy. It's not Dawson. It's Joshua Jackson. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Joshua. You know who Joshua Jackson is, though, right?
This fella right here. Wait.
You don't even show me anything.
This guy.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, from Fringe.
From Fringe as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
What a good movie.
Cool, man. Well, that's it. Last thing I watched, and I wanted to kind of save this for last year. Daredevil Born Again. I started watching that.
Yeah.
I'm 5 episodes in. I've not caught up yet. I will say this though. This is great. Very good. Very good. I'm really impressed. I was kind of a little bit tentative because I know it's one of the writers from the Punisher show that is the showrunner.
Scarpione.
Is that right?
I don't know.
You're not helping me with this. What kind of misinformation? I don't think I'm saying his name right because I don't think I'm making it up. I looked at it recently and I'm trying to go off of memory. Daredevil Born Again showrunner. It's Dario. No, I got his last name. I butchered it. Dario Scartapane. Who was a writer on the Punisher series on Netflix, and he took over the reins for this show after they fired the other person who was doing it, or they parted ways for creative differences or whatever the reason was. But regardless of that, wow, I thought the first episode, I was kind of shocked. They take their time tremendously. I also really love the aspects of the law firm aspects. I really like seeing a law show in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it's really entertaining.
So one of the reasons She-Hulk was really good too.
Yeah, for sure. That was more for comedy though. It's nice to see it like a drama series do the same thing with a larger format with longer episodes too. But there was the fight scenes as well are very gruesome in almost different ways than the Netflix show. I feel the Netflix show was great, but there's moments where like breaking bones type situations happen, and I'm like, oh, that was like, it's really hard hitting in that regard. So it's shocking. It's shocking in the same ways that I guess the Netflix show was shocking, just a different way that they show things. The Netflix show is crazy at some points, like the way that they show like people's like eye
heads
going
getting
through
crushed
a
in
freaking
a
pole.
door.
Yeah, no, nuts. But yeah, this is really cool, and I like that they're taking their time with it. Like, it's crazy. There was one episode where it's like takes place in a bank, and I think that episode was excellent. There was something I was thinking about too. This is almost like we talked about network TV shows and how they're kind of episodic. That was like an episodic TV episode. It didn't link to anything. It's almost like bottled off, and I think that they're doing that in like a bigger way because they had planned to do 18 episodes maybe for the season, as we talked about, and now they're doing 9. I wonder if they were actually going to do 18, and some of them are kind of filler episodes. But the filler episodes, I wouldn't call them filler. I would put like air quotes around when I say filler, because they're not filler episodes. They're very entertaining and very excellent. They actually, we talked about like answering questions again with Severance. It's similar here. Is like, they're like, what if Matthew Murdock was in a bank when there was like a potential heist going to go on? It's like, that's a neat idea. Like, that's a really cool concept. Like, I want to know the answer to that. What would happen? That's so cool. That episode's a standout. It was excellent. I'm really curious where they go from here. Actually, I know there's like 3 more episodes after this, because I think they've gotten up to
they have up
to 7.
Yeah, 6 and 7 are out. And I think the last 2 are out next or this upcoming week. I might be wrong. Maybe 8 is this week and then 9 is the following. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think they do a really good job kind of taking their time, and they're really like focusing on Matt Murdock and how he's kind of, even the filler episodes, quote unquote, that aren't necessarily moving the plot forward. They are moving like Matt Murdock's character forward, if that makes sense. And because of those episodes, I think it makes sense when it goes back to the main plot, how he's reacting to those situations and what he's willing to do in those situations. Again, I'm trying to be vague about it because you haven't watched it yet, but it is interesting. And they're also, not afraid to tie this directly into other Marvel properties now, like other MCU properties with
that bank
characters
episode
showing
actually
up.
Great.
Exactly.
For that like reason too. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. When that episode was playing, because I haven't looked into it. I haven't looked at any of the trailers online, at least recently. So like when a character shows up, I was like, oh shit, hey, that's that guy. And it's cool how they're just kind of sprinkling this in. But yeah, I'm really liking it. Really, my major criticism of this is they have kind of a love interest for Matt Murdock, and I think that relationship is severely underdeveloped. Where you have in the original series, the relationship between him and Karen Page and the whole will they, won't they, and the sexual tension. He has a new love interest in this show. And
there's also Rosario Dawson's character.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
The night doctor, or whatever they call
nurse,
her.
Right?
Night nurse. Yeah. And I think that aspect is by far the weakest element of the show. And it's kind of like, cause there's like, they have barely any screen time together. And it's like when they're shown together, it's like their relationship is like,
it's off screen.
Yeah, like it's gone forward exponentially. So I think because of that, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit, and I don't have any care for this love interest character in the sense of their relationship. But she does play a larger part in the overall narrative, which I find interesting.
Right.
So like I don't want to say the character's bad. I think just the relationship between these two characters is bad. But she still does a really good job in the role. And I like the character.
Yeah, it's unseen. We need to see more of it, like to get a better perspective. Yeah. The other thing, I think Vincent D'Onofrio is killing it again as Kingpin. There was a interview recently he was on, I think it was Happy, Sad, Confused.
I don't know.
That podcast gets a lot of headlines because he interviews a lot of people from the industry. But he interviewed Vincent D'Onofrio, and D'Onofrio's, I think it was that podcast. Regardless, he said that he didn't think that Kingpin could be in. He wouldn't be in
any of the MCU
Marvel
movies
because of a rights dispute. And I was like, what? First of all, I felt like this was primed now for Kingpin to potentially be in
Spider-Man.
the next Spider-Man movie, which is like, because it's more grounded in theoretically the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man as opposed to the friendly universe Spider-Man or whatever. You know what I mean? So I thought that would be really cool if that could happen, because I feel like he is being utilized a lot better, and I think he's doing a great job on an acting perspective. I would really hope that they could somehow pull him into the movies, because he is a big piece of the New York thing. Yeah, I don't know, because he's as introduced in the very beginning of the show and in the trailer, he's the mayor, which is so cool and a great way to just elevate the plot for it. The plot just really changes a lot of things right away. Like, it's just like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. It's really cool.
Yeah,
really
that actually brings up one of my criticisms of the show as well, because I was a little confused in the first episode. This is actually one thing I wanted to bring up to you after watching, because I think the first episode is pretty great, but the issue that I had with it is I'm very confused as to the timeline that first episode takes place. Like the time frame. Sorry, I should clarify, because it seems like Vincent D'Onofrio shows up as Kingpin. He's like, I'm running for mayor. And then by the end of the episode, he is the mayor. And I'm like, How much, like, was this weeks? Was this days? Was this months? And it's very unclear.
A few weeks, because he entered the race real late, and none of the people felt disenfranchised. They didn't feel like any of the candidates were for them, kind of thing. And somehow he was the character that they thought was the best candidate.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. Is he entered like real late, but it probably would have been weeks, I think. But I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess since you already brought it up, like Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie that's going to come out, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I just had to Google that.
It's coming up after again. We're going to talk about it. But.
Okay, cool. Okay, then I'll leave it until
if
we
not
get to that point.
Whatever it is, just bring it up now, because it's going to be the montage.
So. Okay, because there was the. Because you did mention, I think it's primed to bring in like Kingpin into that show, and I do agree. But they just announced that they're casting like a 40s to 50-year-old like Asian man for a role, and I'm curious if, obviously not going to be Kingpin, but I'm curious if they're doing like the Mr. Negative thing that they did in the Spider-Man Insomniac game, like the first one. I don't know if Mr. Negative is traditionally an Asian character. He was in the game, so I'm curious if that's what they're kind of going for.
Sometimes they pull things, I find, across different industries. Like when somebody's made into like a certain race or gender, they'll take the same, even though that wasn't the original character, because they want to create associations for marketing beats. Yeah, because that game is very popular on the PlayStation 5.
It's fantastic.
So I wonder if they might just use Mr. Negative. They might just make him Asian just because of that. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Yeah, maybe interesting. I didn't see that they were casting a.
I saw that randomly.
Did they say it was a villain, or they just said it was?
No, they just said that they're casting Asian man.
Okay,
Asian.
Interesting.
Spider-Man for Asian actor.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said this because I don't know where I saw it.
Okay,
but so no one reputable is reporting on that, so disregard that.
Uh-oh. Yeah. The misinformation on the internet might have struck again. Unknown.
Yeah.
Unknown. Okay. Curious. Well, what does it say? Who is it? Is it Cosmic Book News, Adrian? Huh? Get a little Cosmic Book in there?
The first thing that popped up was Reddit, and then as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, maybe I was...
Well, that's not so bad. That's actually... I find people on Reddit as a social media... I guess as social media websites go, I find that people on Reddit often have thoughtful conversations, like more so than other social media. Now, that's not to say that there's not a lot of misinformation on Reddit. I'm sure there is, but I often find, like, if you read into it, because it's a forum, so it's like you're reading responses. So that is a thing. But usually people would have put a source. It wouldn't just be random.
Yeah, so disregard that because Threads is popping on Twitter.
It'll come up. It will come up when somebody gets cast. If that happens. Okay, let's move on to what we've been watching together. Then I think it's a good time to do that. We watched 2 movies this week. We may as well just go in chronological order from the things we watched. We watched specifically Black Bag.
Yes.
On 4 days ago from
something like that.
From recording this. And let's talk about that. Black Bag. Black Bag, a spy movie starring Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett.
Mm-hmm.
They say black bag whenever, because they're a married couple that are both spies that work for the MI5, and they often say black bag when they can't tell each other what they're working on inside the agency because it's top secret, and they do work at different parts of MI5 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty neat movie. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh
Yes.
of various heist movie fame, and I really liked it. I will say that.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, I really liked it as well. I think it's a cool movie because I feel like we don't get much of these types of movies anymore. I mean, you talked about the spy genre with James Bond, and honestly, I feel like the spy genre in general is kind of dead. Ultimately, we're gone. Gone are the days of Spy Kids 1 through 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the best example right there.
Gone are the days of Agent Cody Banks,
Right, sure.
1 and 2.
Well, I just talked about Slow Horses, but maybe in the movie setting, it's not as prevalent for sure. Like I think the spy movies we seem to get the most are like Marvel spy movies in a weird way.
Yeah,
maybe I'm missing something. Like years ago, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy came out. They made that spy movie with Bridge of Spies with Tom Hanks years ago too. That was Spielberg. So there's like they come out infrequently.
Yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, I guess there's that. There are some. It's just it is a genre less explored, I would say, lately.
Yes. But I think what makes this movie especially unique in comparison to at least like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is like maybe the most recent spy movie I've watched, is that this movie has very little action. Very little. If you can even argue that there is some at all. It's very dialogue heavy, but it's written very well. And you're watching essentially like an ensemble cast of 6 characters, Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett's characters being kind of the main ones. And, it's the whole, like the premise is kind of set up is, hey, you're a married couple, you love your wife and you love your husband. Would you put your relationship with your wife or husband before your country? And how would you kind of navigate the situation that you're kind of been put into, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And I think it's done very, very well. And, kind of how I want to be as kind of vague as possible because this movie is just very interesting. And again, there's not much that happens in it as a whole, but when it kind of is all revealed, I think you mentioned this after we finished the movie. Like this movie's framed as a heist movie almost.
In some ways, yeah, it's interesting. And this Soderbergh is like the best heist movie guy. So that's kind of, it's interesting that that's the case a little bit in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with Ocean's 11, obviously. And he did that one with Channing Tatum. Yeah, that one.
And there's also the other Ocean's movies.
Yeah. Did he do Ocean's 8 as well or no?
I don't know. Oh, but he did the other Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. Ocean's 8, starring
Sandra Bullock.
Anne Hathaway. Sandra Bullock.
Awkwafina.
Nope, he did not. Gary Ross directed it.
I see. I liked that movie actually quite a bit. That was the first Ocean's movie I watched, and then I went back and watched Ocean's 11 and 12.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah, but I think this movie's very well done. But the interesting part is, again, there's not much action. It's all dialogue. This movie is almost all dialogue in different scenes in different areas, and like you're watching kind of situations unfold. And Michael Fassbender is, I think he does like an immaculate performance because I think we're following him the most, and he's trying to figure out if, is my wife, a criminal against our nation, and what am I going to do about this? But when we were watching the movie, literally, like, I think it was like a group of 4 people. They came in maybe like 2 minutes after the movie started and like sat down, and then like a half hour later, they just left. Like, and they did not come back. So like this movie is rated incredibly well. It's like a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. And I agree with that. I think I stand by that, but I don't think this movie's for everyone. And I can see why like someone would just be sitting there bored if you're expecting, because I feel like the trailer almost made it look like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
It did, didn't it? So I was
Yeah.
that's the thing in my notes here. That's the thing is it's very much framed like that, and it
Hmm.
seemed like this like exciting spy thriller. No, almost like a spy action movie versus a spy
Hmm.
thriller. Like this is a spy thriller
Yeah.
versus it being an action thriller. Really, it's really thriller heavy. But yeah, that is an interesting thing. Like maybe it was mismarketed. I hope it made enough money to get by. I think there was enough people in the theater though that I
Hmm.
was kind of surprised because it was days after it had already launched.
Yeah.
So
Weeks.
yeah,
It was weeks.
what
Came out
was it? A
like
couple
two.
weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Anything else to note?
Yeah, not specifically. I do think like, I don't think it is doing particularly well from what I could tell online, like when I did a quick search, like financially. And I think this is a movie that I would highly suggest people go watch. Cause like we don't get movies like this. It's a brisk hour and a half, but funnily enough, it covers all the ground. I feel like there's nothing missing in that hour and a half. It is so tight where like by the end, like I was completely satisfied where it ends off. And it felt, I feel like this can almost be viewed as a negative, but like it felt longer than an hour and a half because of all the information they conveyed in that short amount of time.
Mm.
Um, and
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like this movie. I really recommend it. I want people to go watch this sort of stuff because everyone's always complaining. It's all Marvel. It's all this stuff. There's
Yeah, I know.
never any original ideas. But you're not watching movies like this that should be watched.
Oh my
That is
god.
so well done. I
Yeah.
really really liked this. I'm very like I'm kind of sad that it's not doing incredibly well because this is the kind of stuff that I feel like should do well.
That point is exactly, it's the thing that irks me so much. It's said so often. And then you look at a trailer for something and you scroll down the comments, and there's always that comment that says like, "Oh, we need more original movies. We don't get any original movies. This is the original movie I was waiting for. This is it." It's like, guys, there's lots of them. You're just not going to see them, and this
Hmm.
is evident. And there's always a comment that's liked the most on YouTube. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't understand this. I think the last movie that I saw that for was, I don't know if you watched the trailer for this. Is Paul Thomas Anderson's movie? What's it called? Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. I'm not even sure what's
Oh,
going on in it, but it looks awesome.
I don't watch
Benicio
the
del
trailer, but I
Toro.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro's in it. It's coming out this year. It's another Warner Brothers flick, but that one looks great. I'm into that for sure. But I think that was the one that I saw recently. Like, oh, there's no movies like this. There's no good, no original ideas. They're all superhero movies. Like, no, they're not. You're not seeing them. Watch the Oscar movies that just
Hmm.
got nominated. Like, which movie in there is even that mainstream? Stupid. There's a couple. Wicked was obviously, but yeah. Anyway, it's silly. But no, I think this movie is like super sophisticated. It's definitely slower than like it's not, again, not an action spy movie, and that's where the the trailer, I guess, didn't maybe help it, or it did because it sold it to people who didn't know what it was.
Hmm.
But I think like it's more like a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or Slow Horses. Actually, that's kind of the way it's built up. Although Slow Horses is more of a comedy in a lot of ways, and this isn't really that funny. But
Hmm.
the acting is so good, and like Reggie Jean Page is really good in it. I
Hmm.
think it's great. Kate Blanchett's good and everything. Michael Fassbender is killing it. I don't know, everything Michael Fassbender is in. I think Michael Fassbender might be one of my favorite actors. He's just so good, and the variation of what he can play too is really interesting. So
Hmm.
I really like that aspect too. The way, like I said, it was super sophisticated. Like the way the first shot begins, it's a oneer, as we talked about oneers before.
Hmm.
And they have this follow shot into this club, and it's just so good. And that really sets the tone right away for what the movie's going to be or how it's going to be. I think. And I think they're not trying to deceive you in the movie. Like it's going to be an action movie. That weren't doing that. Like they show you right away. This is like this intrigue plot line. You're like trying to figure it out. I feel like the best spy movies, whether it's action thriller or just thriller, I feel like the best ones, they have this mystery, and like you're brought along on this path with a more grounded spy who doesn't quite know the answers, and you have to figure out what the answers are as you get to the end. And that's kind
Hmm.
of what they do here. And that's what actually I criticized Black Widow, the Marvel movie, speaking of Marvel movies, because I don't think it did that. It didn't have a compelling villain, and I don't think it really had a mystery that they try to unravel in any meaningful way. And that's why I didn't like Black Widow too much, because the best scene in Black Widow is the first one. Like the very beginning of that movie starts off brilliantly. I thought it was
That's the
awesome.
bridge, right? Is it the bridge scene? I don't even remember. It's been so long.
It's in their house. Like it's like years ago when they're kids, and it's like
Oh
David
yeah.
Harbour. Yeah, like that is really neat, and I like the characters in it. I thought the acting was good in Black Widow, but there's not a lot of intrigue. I wasn't that surprised, and the villain was pretty boring. But in this,
Taskmaster, who's most certainly dead in Thunderbolts.
That's not even the villain I was thinking of, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
But Taskmaster was more interesting than the villain that they actually had in it. But yeah, no, it's really crafted brilliantly. I think Soderbergh has like a really cool attention to detail as well. Like there's really neat attention to detail, and the way that the MI5 organization works too as well. Like it's kind of hard to follow in some ways because they're talking shop. And they're talking shop very specifically. I had to sit up. Like I'm like, okay, I'm really tired from my day of work. I need to really pay attention to this. I'm not going to miss what they're saying because they're saying very specific thing. Pierce Brosnan's really good in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's in it. He's not one of the 6, I don't think, that you're even referring to.
No.
It's the main cast, but he's really cool in it too. And he plays it really, like, I guess not that unexpected anymore because he's moved far past James Bond, but he plays a more unexpected role. It's kind of subverts expectations because we know him as James Bond the most, and he's in a spy movie in this case, and so he like it's cool like where they put him in as a character. It's not really a spoiler, like you can kind of see that I think in the trailer too, but it's neat, and that he's just not he's not a James Bond, and that's what's cool. And so yeah, it's sweet. I really liked it, and I recommend it quite a bit. I know you said you don't recommend it to everyone, but I don't know. It's a good movie though.
It's a really good movie. But again, like the reason I'm not recommending it to everyone is because people literally walked out of our theater. So it's like, I mean, So if you don't go in expecting some crazy action movie, just go in, get ready to listen to some really well-written dialogue and try to figure out what's going on.
It's almost a whodunit as well as being almost like a heist movie. And that, again, a good spy movie is that in some way. Like it takes aspects of those genres and peppers them in to make them interesting. Like James Bond movies do that too. They pepper in these big mysteries, this big drama. They put in the action as well, and they ask you to kind of unravel it with James Bond. And that's kind of the idea. And this less action than James Bond, but super interesting and super well shot. Like just
nice,
really well shot as well.
But
and it kind of gives you a more grounded feel. I feel like James Bond, not too super grounded. This is a more grounded spy thing, almost like, again, Slow Horses is very grounded. Like it's not making these like gadgets that like a wristwatch that can like shoot someone from across the room or something like that. It's not that. It's like, what would spies be like in real life? It is a bigger question too. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, not that movie. Like it is just an action, like, bombastic action movie, a good movie, but a different kind of like movie in that way. And actually, heist movies series, like Ocean's 11, not that similar to that. They're actually kind of unrealistic in a way too. They're grounded in reality, but they kind of are a little bit more bombastic than this movie is. It feels more mature and, again, sophisticated is a good word, I think. But yeah.
I also realized, like, we're referencing Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We're talking about the movie, like the 2008 movie with.
Oh yeah, we didn't watch the show. I really want to see the show. Have you?
Yeah. Okay. No, I haven't watched it, but it looks good. Like I know it's well rated.
Yeah,
I like really Maya Erskine. I like Danny Glover. So
that is something I meant to watch. This whole another Amazon thing. Yeah, that's something I gotta check out. I think Danny. Did you say Danny?
Daniel.
It's Donald. There's no Dan.
Oh my God.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover
actor,
is,
but not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that confused too. I used to, at least. But Donald. Like,
there's too many.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hit actor from Community.
Yeah, that's his main thing.
The hit
Atlanta
TV
is
show.
so good.
I watched the first season and I loved it. I just never went back to it.
That's what happened to me. I started the second season, but then I got torn away, I think. Maybe it was because of a week-to-week situation. I'm not sure why. I got to go back because there's 3 seasons total, I think.
I think 4, no? And I think they're all on Disney+.
You won a lot of awards for that. You did a great job.
The first season was phenomenal. I loved it.
It really is good.
And I think I watched it when it released. And then I remember season 2 was coming out, and I think it was similar thing. I was like, I'll watch it when it's all done. And then it is 4 seasons. 3 seasons later, I still have yet to watch it. I'm gonna go back though.
Yeah, I got it.
Because it's a great cast too. Like
That's crazy.
Brian Tyree Henry, Lakeith Stanfield.
To be fair, though,
Zazie Beetz.
Some of these actors became big after Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't nearly as big, especially like Brian Tyree Henry and Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield is so good. Like he starred in a lot of movies after that. Like what was that movie?
Get Out. He was kind of a side character in Get Out.
Right. That was a movie before. Yeah, that was his movie before, and then he got the Atlanta role. And then he blew up. But no, he was in Black Judas. What's it called?
Oh. No,
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
But no, the movie you're thinking of is a movie that we really love. We thought should have been nominated, not that year, but the year when Green Book won, which is the movie about telemarketers, but not really at all. That movie is crazy. That's such a good movie, but it's so wacky. It's wacky throughout the entire thing. But
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. So good. That was amazing. But yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, cool. So yeah, that's
and just to correct you, Simon, sorry. Sure. Get Out came out the year after Atlanta season 1.
Oh,
it was 2017. Because I thought I remembered that, because I remember the first time I saw Lakeith Stanfield was Atlanta. That's where I remember seeing him first, and we watched Get Out in theaters, I'm pretty sure.
And then you saw him there.
Yeah. So I got to double check.
Arguably the most important character.
Arguably.
For the reason of the title, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Get out of there! That's what they say.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Wonderful. All right, Adrian. It's time to move on now to the other thing we watched this week. I think you thought I was moving segments based on how excited I was. We're moving on to the next thing we watched, which we watched yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Oh, wait. Sorry.
2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago. Do we want to give a rating to Black Bag for Rotten Potatoes?
Sure. I've been dancing between 2 ratings for me, but I'll let you rate it first, and then I can snap.
I'm kind of dancing between 2. I think I'm going to go with 4 out of 5. It's that or 4.5 out of 5.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I really
you do the one I don't do. You do the one I don't do.
It's just so meticulous. But on Letterboxd, I rated it a 4 after rating it a 4.5, and then I went back to it, and I was like, I think it's great. Like, it's excellent. I don't know what it is. What is it that makes it I don't know. It's all arbitrary. These are nonsense numbers, really.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 4.5 just to increase our Rotten Potatoes score here.
Nice.
And I think I'll re-rate it in my Letterboxd. But any of these scores are always subject to change. They're kind of a joke because honestly, I move my Letterboxd scores all the time based on other movies that come out. It's just the way I kind of look at it. If I go back to a movie and think, why did I rate that so high? Or why did I rate that so low? I'll bump it or move it into a different spot, just because I don't. For me, it's all like my own mind. It's like a psychological thing for me. I like to rate them because it's interesting in that regard, but having them set in stone is kind of where Rotten Tomatoes is flawed. You know what I'm saying? I think you agree with that, because you can never kind of sit them at that. People say it's reductive. We talked about this before, but I don't. I think it's reductive, sure, but that's a good thing in a way, because it helps people make a judgment call on a quick basis of whether something might be good or not. And I think that's a useful thing. It's just people should also read the reviews, and I think that's more important. Regardless of that, 4.5 out of 5. I think that's fair.
Cool.
I really did like it. It's excellent. As we talked about it here too, it reminded me about how good it was. Yeah.
It was. Wonderful.
Excellent. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Death of a Unicorn. We watched 2 days ago. Came out a few days before that, or the same day. Regardless of that, I'll just throw it to you first, I guess. Or I guess I'll say what it is. Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, they're going to a ranch. They're going to go to a vacation home, somebody's property in the middle of the wilderness, basically. And he's basically on the job hunt. And he meets a bunch of people who he works with, and he's on not a job hunt, but he's trying to get promoted, essentially. And Jenna Ortega has to tag along because he's not going to, whatever, he's got to do that for some reason. You're going to find out in the plot. And essentially, as the trailer shows, they run into a unicorn. They don't think it's a unicorn, because who could believe a unicorn exists? They run it over. And so it's about the death of a unicorn, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's both a comedy sort of and a horror sort of, and it's sort of a drama as well. And they go to this property. and it's kind of in a way about the dangers of capitalism in a very on the nose way. And and Richard E. Grant, I will say, is a standout. I think he's excellent. I think
Mhm.
he's awesome. I also think Anthony Carrigan, who plays a butler dude, is also great as well.
Yeah.
And again, the dangers of capitalism is like they find out that the unicorn potentially could have some kind of healing properties, as again shown in the trailer. And so
Mhm.
then I throw it to you. What did you think of the movie as a whole?
Yeah, I think Death of a Unicorn, it's interesting because it is a very fun sort of horror comedy with a very wacky concept. It's a monster movie slash slasher flick. But it does things like kind of uniquely. It sets up the premise very quick. It does not beat around the bush about what the idea of the movie is. They hit a unicorn. This unicorn has healing properties, and what are they going to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it misses the mark on what a lot of slasher movies or monster movies do at the start of their movies, which is typically you have a scene where the monster or the killer kills someone, and it sets up kind of the film and like, okay, cool, this is the extent that the monster or the killer is willing to go. Things like Scream, that always sets up, there's always that sort of opening segment where there's a murder that happens, or or hell, even like I don't know, the Host, which I've only seen kind of the opening scene of, which was the Bong Joon-ho monster movie from like 2006. And a movie that I actually wanted to bring up to kind of parallel with this is the movie Hard Eyes. So they have that out digitally, so I got it at home. I watched that with my fiance, which is like a new sort of similar horror comedy but slasher movie. And I think that movie starts off in a way where it's, again, like kind of like Scream, like there's a killer on the loose and a kill happens at the start, and it kind of sets up, this is what the killer is willing to do. So, and I think, although they're not the same kind of movie, because I think Death of a Unicorn kind of follows more of the monster movie formula as opposed to a slasher movie formula, I think Hard Eyes is a better movie in almost every aspect, with the comedy, with kind of like the gruesome violence, just the plot in general. I really enjoyed Hard Eyes in comparison to this. But I don't think it's totally fair to compare it. But again, because of how the movie is set up, where it sets up kind of the main premise, you kill a unicorn with healing properties, it feels like the start of the movie is both rushed, but moves very slowly at the same time, because we're waiting for the unicorn to come and start killing people. We know that's going to happen. But the start of the movie is just like, hey, here's the setup. Cool. They kill a unicorn. We're doing capitalism, baby. We're going to sell this to people. And I feel like because of that, it almost makes it a little bit jumbled at the start. And, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh shit, they're just going right into it. And then it's like half hour passes. And I'm like, okay, finally the unicorn starts showing up and killing people. And it's weird. Like it sets you up to expect things to just kind of go. And then all of a sudden it kind of screeches to a halt. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because then it gives us more time to kind of follow these characters and see them a little bit more developed. And so when the kills happen, you're a little bit more like, oh, but in a lot of the ways, all the characters, like a lot of these characters suck. Like they're shitty people. So it's like you're building up like, oh man, I can't wait for this person to die, as opposed to, ooh, I hope this person doesn't die, if that makes sense. I think Will Poulter kind of stands out as he's such a piece of shit. Excellent. Like he's so funny, and he's like such a piece of shit, and he's like this bratty, like rich kid. I mean, he's in his like 20s, but like obviously had everything handed to him, and like the way he plays his character is so brilliant, because he tries to act like very cool and suave. Like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an ideas guy. That's where I stand. But he's always looking for approval from his parents in everything he does. Yeah. And he plays it so well. I loved Will Poulter in this. I think he is my personal standout, because he gets so much screen time as well.
For sure.
And one of the things I noticed, I don't know if you picked up on this, but there are so many parallels with Jurassic Park and this movie. I think when they were making this movie, they're like, cool, I want to make this very similar to Jurassic Park in a multitude of ways. Most notably, there's like a scene where a lot of them kind of go out into the forest. And it reminded me of the scene in the first Jurassic Park where the hunter goes out into the forest. He's hunting the raptors, and the raptors are kind of running around him. And it's like the same thing with this
Mm.
unicorn out there. So I noticed that parallel. And there is a scene in this movie that I think is straight up. They like copied it almost like the same way it's shot and shown as the first Jurassic Park movie, nearing the end of the movie, where the raptors are coming in to like, they're like, there's a raptor at the front door and they're running there. It's like, oh shit, we got to close this. And then they kind of run down a hall and then another raptor shows up. And this movie does that a lot. So I think they didn't shy away from the Jurassic Park parallels. And me loving Jurassic Park and loving like dinosaurs killing people or monsters killing people, like it's, you know, it scratched an itch for me, which I really liked. But I don't necessarily think that this movie is without its flaws. And I think there's a lot of sloppiness in the way the message is delivered, and especially in the way how the movie wraps up. I think the ending of this movie is like kind of, it's like very sloppy, weirdly enough. And I wasn't a fan of it. But yeah, that's kind of my main thoughts on this movie. And I think, like, I'm curious if I didn't watch Hard Eyes, which again, it's a different movie. It's a slasher movie versus a monster movie. But like, I think Hard Eyes kind of nails every aspect of it. It nails the comedy. It nails the grotesque violence. It nails a lot of the things. And this movie, I just felt a little bit more inconsistent in the writing at times. And I think the CGI in particular in this movie is very inconsistent. And it's inconsistent in the way is like, how fast are these fucking unicorns? Like, are they super speed because they're like all of a sudden showing up out of nowhere killing people? Or can you actually run away from this unicorn and actually be kind of fine? And like, I feel like because of that, I don't know. And the way they animate these unicorns, it makes it seem like, again, very inconsistent and almost sloppy. And I think that's kind of my main takeaway from this movie is it's a little sloppy, but it's still very enjoyable.
Yeah. I agree. It's sloppy. It feels like this movie, I think the best word I can describe is this meandering. It doesn't focus on anything enough. And I don't find that the horror or the comedy hits hard enough throughout the entire thing. Like it doesn't know what it is. It's like, it doesn't know what this movie, like they doesn't know what they're trying to do, kind of thing. I don't know. It's very strange. I did enjoy some of the scenes. I did laugh a little bit at some of the scenes, especially Anthony Carrigan. I thought he was pretty funny because he doesn't say much. And so when he does, it was funny. Will Poulter's a good example. Will Poulter's like blowing up. He's like everywhere. It's really cool. I don't know. I just thought the best part of it was how gory and ridiculous it was at times. That was the funniest thing because it just was so ridiculous. Like, it just was like shock. There's like a lot of shock value there, and they did a great job there. I would agree on the CG. There was like that scene, I think near the end, there was a scene with like one of the unicorns, and it's like, it was way smaller than it was supposed to be. I was like, wait, I was like, what do you mean?
It's confused. And I feel
like
like
one of these things, like what happened there? I don't know. It just seems strange to me, and
also like, I feel like it almost feels like the actors are like, okay, this is just pretend the unicorn is going to be over here and we're going to animate it in. Cause obviously they don't have real unicorns on set. And it's like, they're looking or reacting to areas where the unicorn's not even in, like just
maybe
just
they
like
were given the wrong
distance-wise.
tennis ball. The tennis ball is in the wrong spot. They're like, oh no, we have to move it. I don't know. It's a very strange movie. And it actually, like, watching this movie, this is where I said my scores change always on Letterboxd. I feel like my Letterboxd score for Wolfman's too high, actually.
The 2.5?
I think it should be 2, actually. Because this is a 2.5. So there's my score. I just think that this movie just doesn't, it's not bad though. Like a 2.5 for me personally is like, you've hit the mark of where it would be bad. Like, I'm not Rotten Tomatoes is 60, but that's like a made up thing. I used to, like, when you go to school, you fail if you are 50% or if you're below 50%, you fail. And that's kind of the thing. Like, they didn't fail, but I was entertained at times, but I also thought this movie was like, we're talking about Black Bag and how it felt like a perfect length. And it was like, it moved along at a pace that it made sense. Like, and it was never boring for me. I'm like, I don't know. There's people walking out I don't understand at all. It doesn't make sense. It reminded me of when I went to the theater. I went to an AMC theater, which we don't have that many of them in Canada, but I went to an AMC theater to watch Cloud Atlas with my brother. He was really gung-ho about it. He loved that movie, and we saw it together at an AMC theater. And when we saw Cloud Atlas, it was a pretty empty theater. It was way late. He already seen it. He brought me to it because he'd already seen it, and he wanted to show it to me. And I watched it with him, and there was like multiple people, like sets of people that left. It was not that empty. It was like, less empty than it was at Black Bag. And people were
Okay.
like, multiple sets of people just walked out. And I was like, that makes sense because these ideas are really out there. I don't know if you've seen Cloud Atlas yet, but it's a wacky movie. It's pretty cool though. It's a great movie. I really like it. It's from the Wachowskis of Matrix fame. So, but yeah, with this, like nobody walked out on this one. But the Black Bag thing is like the excitement with Black Bag to me, I was on the edge of my seat because I was constantly interested to see what was going to happen next. I felt perked up because I'm like, oh, I gotta who is doing this? What's the overarching plot going to amount to? I was very interested in that. And this, I kind of got bored. I was like, it's cool, but it's just like it did. The pacing was weird as you described, and then the horror was fine, but I don't know why I didn't feel that much. There's just like not enough anticipation. And then when you look at the comedy, there's really not enough comedy. And I thought this was going to be more of a comedy because of Paul Rudd. Sorry to Paul Rudd. Typecast you in my mind as a comedy actor. Although he's done other roles that have not necessarily been as much comedy, like that role with Will Ferrell. Which that was still a comedy a little bit, but the one with the psychiatrist.
It is interesting because like I would make the argument like Paul Rudd's character is arguably the least funny character. Which kind of throws you off.
He's like a grounded, he's like a Jason Bateman like character. No, he's not even though, because he's not that. You don't want to sympathize with him because he's not. I don't like him actually. Yeah, I don't like him as a character. I don't know. It's weird. That's maybe what threw me off too because I like Paul Rudd the least. And it's like that's weird. He's the most likable actor in most things. I don't understand how that's possible. Like I almost like the other crazy people because they're at least interesting. He's not interesting, and like that's the problem. His character is just not. It's not very interesting. I think Jenna Ortega did a good job as well, by the way. Yeah. Like I think she did a great job. She's the Jason Bateman like character where she's like the straight man. She plays the person you're meant to relate to, the grounded character in the story. Yeah. Which is cool. But yeah, the ending, I completely agree. I don't know if I said this yet to agree with you, but I completely agree. The ending was horrible. That's actually probably what dropped it to a 2.5 for me. I rated that in Letterboxd as a 2.5 out of 5. And that rating I'm going to stick with because I think like it's just not that ending is nonsense. What? Why did you do this? Like, what's the point of that?
I was like, what the fuck?
I saw that. I'm like, I was kind of I'm like on the edge constantly. I'm like on the fence. I'm like, do I like this though? Do I like this? Like constantly. I'm like, I think they just need to move on. Like, why is this? The movie's too long. I don't usually say that actually. I don't believe that movies are too long generally, but this movie was too long. It feels like it lingered on every idea too long. Like the capitalism thing. It's like, no, we get it. We get it. Yeah. we understand you're like a greedy corporation. We understand what you're doing. Like we can move it along here. I don't know. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. I think this movie is like, I liked it. Like I liked it enough, but I don't think I would ever really like want to rewatch this. For me, it is better than Wolfman. And for me, my rating for Wolfman, I'm going to keep it at 2.5 because like Wolfman is just a movie. It's not good. It's not really bad. It's boring. It's bland.
I kind of think it's bad. That's the thing. Like I think about it. Anytime I think of that movie, I'm like, I just don't like that movie. Like I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. It's not that you need to be not like, if you were just bland and you're just a movie, like at least I could say like, oh, well, the makeup in Wolfman or the whatever in Wolfman, the start of the movie in Wolfman, like the way that the really wolf acts in the movies is like so inconsistent. It's just to me like that's an example. I don't give things enough of a bad rating. So I feel like I sometimes like I try to talk it up. Like there are aspects of it, like the beginning, like you described, it's good, but then it's like the movie's so low budget and they still failed to they like maybe spend the money on the plot a little bit. Like it just feels so inconsequential the entire way through. This feels more consequential and at least it's funny. Wolfman's has the sin of not even being funny at all. So it's like that's the problem with it. It's like it's a horror movie that becomes not that scary at like the midway point, and then it's just not that. It's not really that fun to watch. I was legitimately bored. That one I yawned multiple times, and I'm like, this is yawning because I'm tired of watching this movie. This movie, Unicorn, Death of a Unicorn. I legitimately think it's good in many aspects. It's just it just takes its time on nothing and doesn't really amount to as much as I would have liked. And that's kind of my review of it.
Yeah, I think we're fairly similar. I'm going to rate it a 3 because I think there was enough that I enjoyed about it. Again, I'm a little biased. I love monsters killing people. Like I love that. Like that I'll eat that shit up. any day of the week. I love the parallels between this and Jurassic Park that were there. So yeah, like I enjoyed it enough, but again, like this isn't necessarily a movie I would really recommend. I would have recommended this to your fiance. That's pretty much the only person I know that likes monster movies. But I did Dawn like this movie?
She was also the same. She was like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, okay.
I try to ask her first so I don't get too, I'm just so passionate about talking about the subject matter. Sometimes I feel like she doesn't care enough. So eventually she'll just kind of like move a little bit more to my side if I go really hard on like all the problems with it on the car ride home. So I let her always give her opinion first if I can for that reason. And she's like, yeah, it was okay. It was fine. Some of it was fun. Some of it was fun, but it was like it's very flawed and too long. For what it's doing. So,
yeah. My fiance was kind of similar. She doesn't really like the hyper violent gore, so I think she was a little bit more like lower on it than I was. Because the one thing I do want to note, and you touched on this, the violence and the gore in this is shocking. Like I did not expect how far they would go in some of it, and it's hilarious.
It's funny. It's funny because of that. That's part of the fun. That's why like that. Yeah, I just wish they did not more gore, but then they did more fun things in between. It's just
like dive into the absurdity.
Low for some reason. I didn't really. I can't really quite place it. Like it must be a pacing issue. The way that the scenes are comprised, like they comprise the overall product. I'm not sure, but yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Good stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, so what was your score? Is a 3? We didn't give the Black Bag score. So the Black Bag score ends up being an 8.5 out of 10 because we combine our scores. And then this one was a 3 and a 2.5. So we're at 5.5.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. I think we're there.
Okay.
Cool.
Did I add that right?
Yes. I think you did maths properly.
I didn't do White House math. I mean, what? Anyway. Jesus. Let's make up the numbers. Just gotta make up the numbers, you know? No, it's a 5.5 out of 5. Okay.
Let's tear off the penguins.
Tear off an island of only penguins. Oh my goodness gracious, what kind of a time are we living in? There's a lot of memes with this, but there's just this. I think they took the scene of where like JD Vance, the vice president of the United States, and Donald Trump. No, I don't think it was that because it was a different kind of photo. But regardless of that, it was it was an Oval Office like sit-in where they talk to somebody in the Oval Office, and they just have a penguin sitting on the seat that Zelensky was sitting on, and they're just like they're like explaining to the penguin about the tariffs. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I still don't know how JD Vance actually looks like. I'll be honest with you.
It's confusing, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, the memes, man. They
it's like
reality.
Yeah, it's like all those Mike Wazowski memes from Monsters Inc. with 2 eyes.
Yeah,
and then like I remember like seeing the proper Mike Wazowski and being like, oh my god, I forgot that he. Yeah, I was like, I forgot he only had 1 eye. And like we're getting to that point. I genuinely have no idea how that guy looks like proper. Like, do not know.
Right.
I don't want to know. Actually, it's kind of fun. The mystery, it's fun.
There was a Kimmel skit where they did they showed like clips of JD Vance. No, it was clips of various people talking about what JD Vance was doing, and then they kept showing. Oh, I know what it was. JD Vance was on a phone call, I think, and they showed his face because his face next to like it was audio phone. There was no actual video of him, so they just every time they clipped back to it, they just showed a different version of the memes. So it's just a different version of whatever he looks like in those ridiculous graphics. And every time they clipped back, they just showed a different one. It got more and more ridiculous to the point where Dawn and we couldn't even remember what they were talking about, what he was even talking about, because it was so unbelievable what he looked like. They use a more ridiculous one every time. Anyway, no, that's crazy, man. Meme culture. The only thing good on the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. All right. It's time now to move on to the montage, Adrian, a sequence of our show in which I briefly present 7 of the bye-week's smaller news stories as Adrian delivers a brisk verdict. Number 1, According to Deadline, Bullet Train director David Leitch's next action film is a bank heist thriller, and it will star Lex Luthor actor Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, that's exciting. I will watch things that David Leitch makes, because I like his movies.
Number 2. According to publication Deadline, Hot Fuzz actor Nick Frost is in talks to play Hagrid in HBO's upcoming Harry Potter TV series.
Amazing. I feel like that's actually really good casting, funnily enough.
Number 3. According to Deadline, actors Andre DeShields, Max Irons, and Mark Munchaka have been cast alongside actors Mark Strong, Dane DeHaan, and Clemens Posey in the upcoming Apple TV Plus series adaptation of author William Gibson's cyberpunk novel, Neuromancer.
Interesting. I don't know anything about that Neuromancer stuff, but this is a cast of people.
William Gibson, known to be the father of the cyberpunk genre in many circles. Number 4. As reported by Deadline, Moonlight director Barry Jenkins' next film will be a biopic centered on singer Ronnie Spector for Studio A24, with Challengers actor Zendaya cast in the leading role.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm not really. I don't know.
Okay. Number 5. As announced by legendary video game maker Nintendo on their new app, the live-action Legend of Zelda film is now officially scheduled for release on March 26th, 2027. The film is being produced by Sony Pictures and set to be directed by Maze Runner director Wes Ball.
Oh, interesting. I feel like what you should have mentioned is Wes Ball directed the new Planet of the Apes movie, which is called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I was Googling it, which is a good movie. I really like that movie. So I'm into what this guy can do.
Number 6. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Firefly actor Nathan Fillion is set to reprise his role as Green Lantern Guy Gardner in the upcoming HBO Lanterns TV series from Ozark showrunner Chris Mundy, Watchmen showrunner Damon Lindelof, and Green Lantern's comics writer Tom King.
Oh my god. This show's gonna be stellar, right? Like this show has to be good. It has to be good.
I think this is my most anticipated DC Universe thing.
Yeah.
It's stacked right now.
Yeah.
Number 7. As announced by HBO, House of the Dragon Season 3 has begun filming.
Oh my god, I wish we didn't have to wait forever for each season, but I'm excited. Season 2 is good. Season 3, great. Maybe.
And a bonus number 8, as announced at CinemaCon, the next Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movie, starring Tom Holland, will officially be called Spider-Man Brand New Day, and is set to release in theaters on July 31st, 2026. Additionally, the Spider-Verse animated sequel, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, has now been announced for a June 4th, 2027 release date.
That's crazy. Only 3 years after it was supposed to come out, presumably. Because weren't they saying 2024 for that originally? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And a bonus number 9, director Sam Mendes is directing 4 biopic films centered around the 4 members of the legendary rock band The Beatles, which are set to release in April of 2028. Saltburn's Barry Keoghan will play Ringo Starr. Gladiator 2's Paul Mescal will star as Paul McCartney. Baby Girl's Harris Dickinson will play John Lennon, and Fantastic Four member Joseph Quinn will star as George Harrison.
Oh, interesting. Is this a spin-off to the Blue Beetle movie that they released a couple years ago?
No, this is Beatles, as in Beatles. Beat as in music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Crazy stuff. 2 of the actors in this, by the way, I'm pretty sure are going to be in the upcoming Alex Garland movie Warfare. I'm fairly certain.
Joseph Quinn, definitely.
We could check that after the montage. Bonus number 10. As announced by Studio Lionsgate at CinemaCon, the Donnie Yen starring John Wick spin-off movie following John Wick 4 character Kane is in pre-production, with Donnie Yen himself set to direct the film.
Oh.
At CinemaCon, Lionsgate also confirmed that John Wick 5 and a John Wick prequel animated film are also in the works.
Crazy. Interesting stuff. I'm most curious about the Donnie Yen spin-off movie out of this. I guess I'm curious about John Wick 5 too, because I'm curious how they're going to continue. Anyways, disregard. Good stuff.
And that concludes the montage.
Ba-da-bum-bum-bum.
So, Yeah, this is interesting. The John Wick 5 thing, I tried to look that up in more detail. It's like, did Keanu Reeves say he's going to do this? Because I could not find that he confirmed this. It's like Lionsgate's like, it feels like hopium, honestly. They're like, this made us a lot of money. We got to do a John Wick 5, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the impression I got. I wonder, because Keanu Reeves said he wouldn't do it unless Stahelski, like the director, was keen on it, and they were both like really passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything.
Variety, like their article on this from April 1st. God, I never know how to trust April 1st articles. This seems like a legitimate article though.
Right.
Is that Keanu Reeves is returning for John Wick 5 as the nunchuck wielding hitman.
Okay.
Why would they say nunchuck wielding? Yeah.
He's nunchucks once.
Yeah.
And now he's the nunchuck wielding hitman. He shoots everybody in the head, goddammit. Except for one guy who got killed by a nunchuck, and then he's a nunchuck guy.
It's like the whole, like, it's like, you know, you fuck a goat once and you're known as a goat fucker forever, you know?
Yeah, but that one, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best example. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Good stuff. Was I right about that? Two of these guys are in. Did you look it up while we were montaging?
Oh,
it's true, right? It's the friggin'. It's not Paul Mescal. It's Harris Dickinson. Harris Dickinson's. I'm fairly certain I saw him in the trailer for Warfare.
No, not that. From a quick Google search, Joseph Quinn is in it. Will Poulter is obviously in it.
Am I wrong? I just missed the guy.
I don't see him.
There's a dude from Daredevil's in it.
Yeah, Michael Gandolfini.
I did see him in the trailer recently.
Yeah.
Cosmo Jarvis is the dude from Shogun.
That's a cool ass name.
Cosmo Jarvis. Yeah, that is a cool name.
That's a name of a robot, man.
Oh, he's also Noah Centineo, who's been off the radar a little bit. Name of a robot, yeah.
What do you mean he's been off the radar? Noah Centineo?
He hasn't. Yeah, right. He hasn't been in as much.
Isn't he in that? There's that Netflix show called The Recruit. Isn't he the main?
Yeah, didn't that get canceled though?
I have no idea. Looking at this, yes, it did get canceled.
I'm wrong about this guy being in it. I swear to God, I saw him. I'm looking at all the faces on IMDb. He's not showing up here. Oh, wait, is Michael Gandolfini related to the dude from Sopranos?
Yeah, it's his son.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that makes sense. That's a pretty rare name.
He looks like him.
He does look like
he looks like him. Yeah.
You know what I thought about that character though? Because he's like a character who's like close to Wilson Fisk in the Daredevil Born Again series. I thought he looks enough. I can't maybe remember exactly what he looked like, but I thought he was the guy who played the young Wilson Fisk. And I'm like, I had a theory that they just recast him as this guy, but I'm looking at it now and he's not showing up as a Daredevil actor. So I was wrong. Because it was years ago that it would have been. Because how old is this guy, Michael Gandolfini? I'm wrong.
I have no idea.
I'm wrong, but that is another weird coincidence that he's in another crime. Well, he's related to a guy who was in a major crime drama TV show. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can't find this guy here, so I guess he's not in it. I guess I'm a fool. It's not him. I don't know how that's possible. But anyway, that Beatles thing is kind of interesting. 4 movies? 4 movies? 4.
Yeah.
You're gonna do
it's a lot of movies.
Are they all going to be on streaming services? Is that the plan? Or are they all going to release in theaters close back to back to back? Like, are you losing money on this? Oh, I think for that actually though, it's each of them. It's the same story somewhat, but it's told in a different perspective of the various Beatles, which is a pretty cool idea. But there's 4 of them. It's a lot. It's like there's 4
Beatles.
Our favorite season of Arrested Development,
season 4,
which had to be recut so that they didn't do that perspective change. That perspective thing was great. That's too bad. It's unique. It's really cool. But Sam Mendes didn't learn from Arrested Development Netflix season 4. On Netflix season 4, you didn't see that. Would you watch that? Are you a fan of the Beatles?
No, not really. Like
really?
I like
you don't like them?
I'll listen to some of, like I've listened to a few of their albums and stuff. I don't, but I've never been like a huge Beatles fan.
Okay.
You know, I'll jam out to Eleanor Rigby every once in a while.
Right.
I played that on the trombone for grade 10 music. I had to do there's like an assignment where you got to like do a song, a cover of a song in the instrument you're using, and I was using the trombone, and I did Eleanor Rigby.
Good for you. Did it work out?
Thank you. No, actually, they kicked me out of the class after.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
I can see it on your face.
No.
I can see the lie. I can see it. This is the advantage of doing this over video, is that we can see. You know, I can see what kind of bullshit you're spinning over there in the severed floor. I just realized, Adrian, you messaged me at wow, that was many minutes ago. That was a long time ago. You said you have to go pee after the montage. We finished the montage this has been a long time. I'm making you hold it. I feel really disrespectful,
dude,
to your bladder.
You're not making me hold it. I pissed myself. It's okay.
you have a little bottle beneath the table. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. See you.
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
All right, Adrian. I'm glad you're back. I'm delighted, in fact. And I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
All the lonely people, Adrian, where do they all come from? You know?
I don't know. I would assume France.
All right.
I would assume France.
Sure.
But
Sure. All right.
I know what you're referencing.
Oh, man. Yes, and?
The Beatles.
I'm like, I gave you the ball, and you're like, no, you piece of shit.
I would assume France. And you're like, and they love.
Yeah, I guess it was my
baguettes.
fault. I also did the same thing.
Yeah.
And baguettes make you super lonely. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's.
Yeah, and until they found garlic bread with those baguettes, and it brought them together as a family, and now they're not lonely people no more.
Yes.
Boom. Improv.
That's right.
101.
That's always the sermon that Father Mackenzie used to say.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's move on here. Let's move on, Adrian, to our split focus special segment for episode 107. Oh, we're really
SFSS.
We're really christening that name.
Yeah.
A topic which concerns the recently announced cast for Avengers Doomsday, my friend. As announced in a YouTube live stream that pulled in over 275 million views, Marvel Studios announced the cast for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday film directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. The stream ran for over 5 hours and revealed the cast by slowly panning the camera across the back of classic on-set actors' chairs as an individual was placing the chairs side by side at an incredibly slow pace. The final chair was revealed to be the chair for tentpole Marvel Cinematic Universe star and Doctor Doom actor Robert Downey Jr., with the man himself sitting in it. As revealed by the nearly 5.5-hour stream, the Avengers Doomsday cast is as follows. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Tenoch Huerta Magia as Namor, Eben Moss Backrack as The Thing, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Louis Pullman as Sentry, Danny Ramirez as Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romaine as Mystique, James Marsden as Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, and lastly, but not leastly, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Avengers Doomsday began production on March 26th at Pinewood Studios in England and is set to be released on May 2nd of 2026. Adrian, that is quite the cast list, and that's quite the way to reveal a cast list, I gotta say. Hence why we are bringing the Split Focus special segment into this particular episode, because I think it's worth talking about, and it's a big enough topic to converse about in detail. So what did you think about the cast list, and is there any notable weird choices to not include? Because I thought that was really interesting, and I have a thought on that, actually. But actually, let's get to the cast list we don't we are surprised aren't there afterwards. But let's just say, I guess I'll ask you, I'll throw it to you, just say, what do you think of this way to reveal it? And what do you think about the huge cast here?
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool way to reveal what I assume is most of the cast, even though they're saying that this is all of the cast. I don't think that is the case. And I think we are going to have some surprise cameos and entrances from characters.
I have a theory that this cast list, that the overall Marvel Avengers Doomsday cast is actually Black Bag. Adrian, Black Bag. This is a magician's assistant trick. Oh, look over here. Look at all these cast people that we have. But the cast, now I feel like that will also indicate that this cast is so big and so crazy that we can't even imagine. But maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess my question to you, Simon, is, so Joe and Anthony Russo, they did amazing. Infinity War, Winter Soldier, Endgame, Civil War, 4 for 4 in Marvel movies. But post MCU, they haven't really found their stride. I think Electric State, I didn't watch it, but I'm pretty confident that's not doing particular. I mean, I guess it's released on Netflix, which is their most recent movie. Like, I don't think it's reviewed well. That much I know for sure. So I'm curious, like, they've obviously done really good stuff in the MCU. Maybe this is where they do their best work. But again, just with this cast list and what I assume is going to be more people, like, is this too much? Like, how do you balance all of these characters in a way that's going to be satisfying for the viewer over the course of 3 hours or however long it is? And like, what characters are going to be kind of cast aside? How is this going to work? I'm very curious. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. Far from that. I think this movie is probably going to be pretty stellar. But I'm just curious how they're going to balance this in a way that is going to be satisfying for most viewers, and how we're going to kind of, want to see all these characters. Because it's not only like all the MCU characters they're bringing back. Dude, they're bringing back the Fox Universe X-Men characters.
Yeah.
How are you going to fold all of that?
Not the most popular one.
Yeah. No Hugh Jackman. There's no Deadpool as well. How are you going to balance all of this in a way?
They did before, though. Think about it, right? They have before. These guys are good at this.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it
to this extent, though.
I think so. Avengers Endgame, it's nuts.
Yeah, but to be fair, Avengers Endgame is a little bit more focused. There's actually less of a cast until kind of the end of the movie, where more of the cast kind of gets brought in. But we're following like our main cast of characters. So I'm curious how they're going to work it in this case, because we had setup for Endgame. We had set up for Infinity War. They weren't bringing in people from a bunch of different universes really at that time. And I feel like right now it's, how can I word this? Before, I feel like you could go into Avengers Infinity War with the knowledge of the characters of the MCU. But now I feel like almost the level of the viewer's expectation is, not only do you know the MCU, but you've probably seen the X-Men movies, like the Fox X-Men movies, all of these extra things. Like, I think this is a lot to balance. I have faith. Again, they haven't steered us wrong in the MCU yet, but this does seem like a little much. Like, just the immediate, like, I see it all, I'm like, whoa. And again, like, this is with the expectation there's probably going to be more people. There's no Peter Parker Spider-Man. There's no Hugh Jackman. There's no Doctor Strange. Like, there's a lot of characters missing. I'm curious.
Doctor Strange seems like a given. That's shocking that he's not in it.
Yeah,
actually, because he's the man who knows, and I think he plays off that really well. And Benedict Cumberbatch, like, he's the first one to really dive into the multiverse in a more significant way, even though they only
it was madness.
Places. Yeah,
it was madness, dude. And
arguably the craziest thing, a limited number of multiverses.
Yeah, arguably the craziest absence is, where's Taskmaster, dude? Where's Taskmaster?
Yeah, it's a little weird. They got all the guys there. They're all there. Look at us go.
Yeah, even the villain, Lewis Pullman as Sentry, like that's the villain of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So Bob. Yeah, Bob. But so, like, well, I don't know. This is a lot.
I don't
So
know. So there's no setup. I mean, there is setup. There's going to be setup before, like Fantastic Four and obviously the Thunderbolts are getting their
yeah,
own movie. There's setup there. The setup is missing for the Fox people though, because obviously we don't understand how that works. But they could also be just a cameo if they are traveling between multiverses. Like before, I don't know. I shouldn't say between multiverses. They're traveling between universes in a multiverse. So when they travel between universes in a multiverse, then they come across the X-Men theoretically, because they couldn't have been existing elsewhere. They have to exist. I don't know. That's it. It's quite strange. I'm shocked. The Hugh Jackman thing is the weirdest thing. Deadpool
Mhm.
not being in it is weird too, because they just set him up. Spider-Man not weird actually, because the Spider-Man movie is after, and
yeah.
I think that makes more sense because the next Spider-Man movie airs right after it in the summer. That's a big
Yeah.
year. So
But
for
also
Marvel again.
all the Marvels, like the characters from like Miss Marvel,
Yeah,
Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau,
yeah,
they're all
yeah.
missing as well, which is especially weird because of the inclusion of one of the Fox X-Men characters, them being in it. Again, to not dive too deep into spoilers for what happens, I guess like an after credit scene in Miss Marvel, but there's an inclusion of a Fox character that appears in the after credit scene of the Marvels.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, why aren't any of those characters in it?
what a good point. I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah, and that kind of opened up the door for again. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's the only I don't know. That doesn't make any sense though. You're right. The Marvel should be in it 100%. The three Carol, well, where is Carol Danvers? She's the most popular freaking Avenger. She never shows up anymore. She's
Yeah.
just like they gotta stop
Most
this
powerful,
nonsense.
I think you mean, not popular.
Oh, sorry,
Right?
not popular.
Yeah.
No, definitely not popular, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
She's not popular with me, though, because she's poorly written every time. It's really getting annoying. She's badly written. If you made her too powerful, maybe you need to nerf her a bit. I don't know what to say. It's really getting annoying. Like she's never around, but she's also apparently somebody who's a good person. Like, you're a good person? I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, they touch on it a little bit in Endgame where she's like, there's, you guys had Avengers level events, but like there's a bunch of other planets. So like, that's kind of the way they write it. Like, I'm doing planet stuff. I'm going to all the other planets. And it's like, sure. Yeah. But yeah, like, where is she? Realistically, you're missing the start of another crazy event like this. You're missing it again.
It makes sense that she's off world, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, like, you're right though. Yeah. And then maybe that's who's missing then. You're right. Maybe they're going to pull in those characters potentially. I think the most strange one is Strange. Doctor Strange specifically. I think that one's really weird. And I think Hugh Jackman not being in it with the other X-Men being in it is even weirder, because obviously he is the most popular X-Men, even though he may not be the best X-Men or whatever in the comics or whatever. I know that people don't love Hugh Jackman's portrayal in some facets of the the fandom, but largely everyone likes him the most. So he's too tall, or whatever they say. Yeah. Whatever they say. But yeah, like, I don't know. That's really strange. And the weirdest thing too is, like, we always knew that they were going to kind of reboot this. They were going to, we thought, at least we speculated, they're going to definitely reboot the X-Men, and they're going back to the older X-Men, and they're not going to like the Days of Future Past or like that X-Men. They're doing the original X-Men, which honestly was the most popular string of movies, I think, especially because of Apocalypse and the bagel throwing X-Men Apocalypse, and what was the other one again? Dark Phoenix. That was
horrible. Oh yeah, they did. I forgot about that movie.
That one's not good too.
I simply forgot about that movie. When you said Dark Phoenix, I was like, oh yeah, the X-Men 3. And then you're like, no. I was like, wait, we're talking about the new cast. Oh my God. What a bad movie.
It's not good.
Apocalypse was worse. Apocalypse was worse.
100%. It's not, it wasn't quite bagel throwing worthy.
Yeah. That movie's just the Dark Phoenix movie. It's like a bad just a movie, so forgettable. You could not tell me what happened in that movie.
This is like the episode of Michael Fassbender or something, because we have Michael Fassbender, but like, I really like their cast, like that young cast, though, James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender specifically. The dynamic that they have throughout those movies is like the best thing about them. And so I definitely enjoyed First Class enough. I thought Days of Future Past is one of the best X-Men movies, and so
if not the best.
Yeah, and it's like, but you're going to these gentlemen, like Patrick Stewart's getting a little bit older. Same with Ian McKellen. He just fell off a stage. Thankfully, he's okay. No. Thank God. That was a while ago. It was a few months ago. He fell off a stage during his
I
stage
thought
play.
he like literally just fell. Like you just saw it outside your window or something. That's crazy.
It was a little while ago, a few months ago. But yeah, which is tragic. But like this kind of screams to me like these actors aren't going to be in it for that long. Like they got to be rebooting this in some way. But this is like I guess this is a version of it in a universe that we are going to see potentially, and they're going to go to another universe and then incorporate the X-Men in a more holistic way in that one. That's what I think. Because they're going to obviously do the X-Men. Is an X-Men movie going to land between Doomsday and Secret War? Is it called Secret Wars? Sorry. Is it still called Secret Wars?
I think so.
Avengers 5?
Yeah, probably.
Is it Avengers 5? Yeah.
No, it's Avengers 6.
No, Avengers 6.
Because Doomsday is 5,
5 and 6, yeah. So, like, are they going to incorporate a new X-Men? Or are they going to introduce it to the 616? Is that the regular
I don't know, but again, you got to take into consideration that, again, in Miss Marvel, they confirmed the existence of mutants already in the MCU. They literally talk about it.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter though. I know what you mean, but it doesn't matter because there are no larger, you might be right that maybe we're going to start seeing the emergence of mutants in 616. Then maybe that's the solution. They bring it to their own universe. That would be so cool. Imagine they bring in 616. 616 is the core universe, right?
I don't know if that's the film universe. Is it? I think 616 is in the comics, but like, okay, MCU.
Let's just say the one that everyone's
universe
in.
Number.
The one with the original Iron Man.
It is Earth 616.
Okay, so in Earth 616, they then birth the X-Men. Not birth them. They're not coming. They're basically dormant powers that get activated. Mm-hmm. But how cool would it be if they do that in 616 all of a sudden, and then we just see variants of the X-Men after already seeing these X-Men, and then they're making connections like, oh, that's our. It's like in Lost when you had that what's his name, Maelstrom, coming over to the island, and they're like, oh, you're our Sawyer. Mm-hmm. Or we already have a Sawyer. It's you know what I mean? Yeah. Because they have like correlations between certain characters that come to the island. That kind of idea. So like that, yeah. So that could be it. That would be really neat, wouldn't it? To have that association between various like characters that then get birthed. I don't know. Birthed is a really bad word to use. Like,
it's an interesting.
Grow into existence. Their mutant powers become not dormant anymore, and they come out. And then you see Professor X, and it's some other actor, and like, oh wow, that's our Professor X. And then they can kind of make the Fox universe kind of go to the side a little bit, not have to worry about it.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I would think that though the Deadpool would be in this, but hey. What do I know? There's got to be, I think that there's a chance that they bring a lot more characters. As I said, I do think that this cast is actually black bag. Why would you even reveal all this? Because a lot of the reveals, as an example, in Deadpool and Wolverine were the cast. Mm-hmm. Having various actors in it. I will not say the names because it's going to reveal spoilers, but like having those characters in it and actors in it is like, whoa, that person's in it. Whoa, that person's in it. They didn't reveal the cast list before because there's not that many. There are a few, but there's not that many. There's a lot. So they can like take liberties and just say, oh, we're now going to go to this universe. And then here are this group of people. Like if you think about Multiverse of Madness, to be honest, there are a lot of characters in it. Like same with Civil War, same with Infinity War, same with Deadpool and Wolverine. This maybe this number. You said that you were worried about them not being able to make something cohesive because of how many characters. Like how many chefs in the kitchen can you have? Like how much screen time can you give any of them? Probably not that much. Just kind of like Endgame. And they built up the 2000s X-Men anyway, so you maybe don't have to worry about like for years. So you maybe don't have to worry too much about that because people were blown away by certain reveals of characters in Deadpool and Wolverine that we saw that were like, oh wow. And then I'm sure people didn't get some of the references because they're really characters that were, in the universe for years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it doesn't matter. That's kind of my point.
It is also like interesting. It's like what portion of the time, because the Fox X-Men movies, let's be real. It's a mess timeline wise. They kill off characters. They bring some of the characters back. There's different timelines. Like where considering where that universe technically left off, but at the same time, I don't necessarily know where it left off because it's so confusing. Like where are these characters? How are they coming back? Is it just the same actors playing these characters, but it's technically a different universe from the regular Fox universe that we witnessed? it is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
like out
think
of this,
you're right about one
oh,
thing in that you said like Joe and Anthony Russo, they're going into this. They've had a weird track record lately.
mhm,
Regardless of what happens, they are gonna have to thread the needle. This
mhm,
is not exactly. This is not easy. The fact that they were able to do it with Infinity War and Endgame, to me, was remarkable. But it was less remarkable because they had already done it with Civil War and Winter Soldier, kind of. Winter Soldier less so, but Civil War certainly.
mhm,
In terms of having that much cast and that many characters. So with this, it's like, can they do it? Because we're seeing what they're doing at the box office lately and review wise lately with The Gray Man and more so Electric State, which
mhm.
is like a 30%. I'm pretty sure in Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're
The
right.
cast of
Like,
that movie is fucking insane, dude. Just a quick aside. I looked at the cast of the Electric State. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many like actors in this. It's
yeah, it
nuts.
doesn't save you.
Yeah,
That's the moral of the story. That doesn't do
yeah.
anything really for you. There's
But
also no Guardians on this list,
mm-hmm. No crisp rat.
but they got an Ant-Man.
Yeah, thank goodness. But
Yeah.
no, I do love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. But out of this list, I'm curious actually. Like, what are you most curious about? Like, what role they're going to play, and what interests you the most out of this cast list? Because I have a couple that kind of stand out to me specifically, where I'm like, ooh, I kind of like this.
Okay, let's go back and forth then. My first one that I'm very excited about, I gotta say, and I think this is going to be a big year for this guy, and I think it's the whole team really, but the Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pedro Pascal is like, I am so excited for Fantastic Four, but this is another year of Pedro Pascal in a large way.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
this is Fantastic Four is gonna be this year. I'm saying that like Fantastic Four is gonna be a huge hit movie, and The Last of Us is gonna be a huge show as it was
Mm-hmm.
for sure. There's also that Apple ad. Did you see that for the AirPods?
No, actually, I was gonna
There's
actually bring. Sorry, go ahead.
That's it. There's an AirPods
Oh,
ad where it's like really it's directed by Spike Jonze, and
oh,
it's very good. It's excellent. It's like it's for AirPods, but it's got
oh,
Pedro Pascal as like the lead in it. He's
yeah.
going through a breakup. It's worth watching. It's very interesting. I saw it. I'm like, oh, Pedro Pascal. It's like everyone also loves Pedro Pascal. They just think he's a really like nicest guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a rom com he's in called
That's what I wanted to
Materials
bring up. The Dakota
with
Johnson, Chris Evans one.
Right. So
That
there's
looks
also
really
that.
good.
So like this is a big year, I think, for him in general. It's just coincidentally because it's just all lined up this way. And yeah, so I'm just also interested what his take is for Reed Richards, and then that whole team with Joseph Quinn and Vanessa Kirby and Eben Moss Backrack, who's amazing in The Bear and
Mm-hmm.
Andor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I am. That's probably the thing I would say. Like I'm a fan of Pedro. I think he's great, and so I'm.
You're on a
curious
first name basis with him. That's how much of a fan you are.
No. Well, there's no one else named Pedro in the industry. That's why I'm saying it like that. Anyway, what's yours?
For me, honestly, one of the things that kind of stick out. This is like a little bit of a just something that I'm curious about is bringing back James Marsden as Cyclops. I love James Marsden.
Yeah,
I think he's
he was
great
also
in that
completely
role.
underutilized in the initial
Agreed.
movies.
And like I think it's really cool as well. Just Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler as well, who I've
Yeah.
seen most recently as the host of The Traitors.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which is great reality TV. So yeah, like I don't know. I'm curious about that. Like I think that's going to be really fun. I just like James Marsden a lot. There's something about him. Like Westworld, I loved him in. Pretty much anything I've seen him in. I've been a fan of the first Sonic movie that I watched. He's great in it. He's just there's something charming about James Marsden. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe got a little bit of a man crush on him. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really good.
Whomst else for you?
Man, this whole list is great though. Like Simu
It
Liu.
is, yeah.
Simu Liu is like not been around. Where is he in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? That's really exciting too, because then we can see Shang-Chi, which was a great movie in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a kind of something they just haven't really dived into in a while.
Yeah.
The Shang-Chi character. So like that's awesome too. I'm like I'll give you the next one, but yeah. Anyway,
I agree. The Shang-Chi is honestly one of my favorite MCU movies. I know it's like very formulaic. It's like a typical
sure.
origin, but I think that movie is so action packed. It's hilarious. The ending of that movie is so good. I love the ending of Shang-Chi, like with a passion. I think it's phenomenal. But the other one that I'm curious about is that they're bringing back Namor from Black Panther 2, which is cool. And I don't know if you know this, Simon. I forget where I heard it, but I looked into it. Someone mentioned this, and then I looked into it. But did you know that Namor and Sue Storm have like a relationship, like in the comics? Like they have like
no, I didn't see.
There's like an affair. There's like they have like a kid together in the comics as well.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm curious. Like, are they bringing Namor in to kind of
create drama?
Yeah, create drama between the Fantastic Four, and like have like maybe an affair going on. Maybe him and Vanessa Kirby might do some stuff. Who knows? I don't know.
But Reed Richards and Sue Storm are item, aren't they?
They are. They are indeed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, the one that strikes me the most as the most interesting, though, by far, is Robert Downey Jr. We already knew about this one, but that one, that's going to really hit or not hit. And I think that's the big swing that the Russos are making here. That's the most exciting. How is that? What does that look like? This movie is super soon. It's in May of next year. Like, that's crazy. That's a lot. And they don't have anything. They don't seem to have any buildup for this character, which is really weird. Like in the Fantastic Four, they've got to have at least an end credit scene to build this up a little bit, right? Like it got.
You'd assume so.
Because the problem is Thanos was this like idea and I had
from
an idea.
Avengers.
There was an idea, there was an event from the first Avengers movie, right?
Yeah,
they built him up over time. Now they've built up a bunch of silly threads that they never close off, and they did not build anything to do with Doctor Doom at all. So that's a weird thing. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't like leave Doctor Doom as like an end credit scene for one of the big movies and not announce it at a Comic-Con. You know. It's kind of a strange thing. Yeah, I'm curious. That's going to be the most interesting thing for me. But guess we'll see. Anything else you want to note?
No, I think that's really the two main ones that I kind of wanted to point out.
No Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah, no Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
what's he doing? He's got a. Anyways, never mind.
And no Daredevil, but he's pretty street level, so it's not really that surprising.
What's he gonna do? Get fucking blasted? To be fair, like it's not like Yelena Belova or Red Guardian
all the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It isn't really, but one thing that again is disappointment, and I think I know the reason why they would reveal this and all the cast and stuff. Before Thunderbolts is to again bring up hype in the MCU and bring people to the theater to watch that. But it is a little disappointing that it's like, cool, all the cast is there, so we know pretty much everyone except for Taskmaster is safe, because Taskmaster is 100% going to fucking die in that movie. I stand by that. But even just like them being like, oh cool, the villain is not the villain. From the looks of it, or like will become a good guy by the end of it. It's like, I don't know. I think that's kind of the issue with this sort of stuff. And I feel like,
no, not if you do it strategically though. That's why like they're not actually revealing the full cast. We know it's black bag. They're just not going to tell us because it's just better. I'm
referring to Thunderbolts
that they're being
specifically.
Transparent. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
But with Thunderbolts, the trailer might have revealed something. But no, we don't. I mean, Taskmaster's not that important. Let's be real. In this,
I'm not talking about that.
That's a great villain.
Yeah.
In general, it's important in general within potentially the comics, but they didn't really handle that character that much and that well in Black Widow.
Yeah. It just kind of goes to show that
this.
We know that all those actors or characters are safe now and will be in this movie, and then that the villain of that movie is probably going to become a good guy by the end.
Right, because he doesn't die.
Yeah, and he's in this cast.
Yeah, but he was never shown to be the villain in the trailers either. We don't know who he is. That's
Isn't he?
No. The trailers are like, who's the villain? Every trailer, I'm like, who's the villain? I don't know.
It's Sentry. It's Lewis Pullman, a Sentry, who is cast in that, and he's like, I'm a superhuman man. I'm Superman, essentially.
Yeah, but he's barely in it. They're not like projecting it that much. It does. There's an element. Actually, that could be the pitfall with that movie. It's like, is there a compelling villain? Yeah, it is a good point, though. You're right. It does reveal that a little bit because you do see him. There, he is a bit of an antagonist at one point, but they're all fighting each other in the first trailer too.
Yeah,
it's like
that's
that.
True.
You know what I mean? That aspect is the same. But you're right. They're trying to hide that. They tried to obfuscate that a little bit in the first trailer. There's rumors that they cut him out or something like that. Wasn't that right? Did they cut?
I don't know. That rings a bell, but I don't know that for a fact.
Of one of the scenes in the trailer, just so they can avoid spoiling it. I don't. You're right. It's strange. I hope that they have some twists and turns. That movie looks great, though. Every piece of marketing they've had for that has been great, and they look like they're having like a blast.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the special featurette. I don't know if you watched that. It just shows some of the like behind the scenes stunts that were happening for the movie. Looks good. I'm really excited about it. It's really cool. Yeah. That's May 2nd, so soon.
Very soon. I'm very excited for that movie too.
Will this be the spark that lights the flame of the MCU going into Avengers Doomsday? Because again, Captain America Brave New World did not do that. It was like a wet fart, like a very, very wet fart. It did not help at all. It did not build momentum. And if you could build the momentum to get it going.
Yeah.
Like that's the strategy. So I think they're trying to build momentum, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But will it work?
But, one final thing, sorry, that I kind of forgot about. Shout out to M'Baku. Winston Duke as M'Baku. Hell yeah, I'm glad that he's in here. I love that character.
And he's mentioned too.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I'm excited about him being there. I actually really like his character in the Black Panther movies and anytime he shows up, honestly.
Right. Yeah. That is cool. And also Channing Tatum for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
we skipped over that one. That's the most off the wall choice out of everything. I don't know why they're announcing that because it's so wild. That's the one choice that they put in here that I'm like, maybe they don't care that much about the reveals because maybe they are revealing more than I thought. But no, I think this is a red herring. There's more they're revealing. There's more to be revealed. But
is he going to keep his accent?
Yeah, that's the greatest thing. Good stuff.
Cool.
Oh, man. All right, man. Okay. It's now time to move on to a segment of our show that I like to call A Look to the Future. A portion of our podcast where each of us present at least 3 of our picks for the TV series or movies that look most interesting to us that are releasing between April 8th and April 21st, 2025. As is customary, you go first. What is your first pick, sir?
Simon, this is an obvious one. We already talked about it. We brought it up a little bit. We talked about the actor who is going to be in it. The Last of Us. Season 2 is coming out, baby. The premiere, April 13th, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I don't know. Probably. Very excited for this. I'm stoked. I'm so curious what they're going to do. I'm very excited. I'm very, 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 very excited for this. I'm so curious. How's this going to play out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
7 episodes. The year of Pedro, Adrian. The year of Pedro. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know the plot on a basic perspective because we played the game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, something actually was revealed recently. Caitlin Dever, who plays a character in the show, she was interviewed by TV Line, I think it was. And she said something about Neil Druckmann, the creator of The Last of Us, the game, and the co-creator of the show. He said that they shouldn't play the game to know the characters. That he wants them to just understand the characters from the page that they wrote for them. And we were talking about a couple weeks ago or last week about Ronald D. Moore was making that God of War. That God of War TV show for Amazon, and people were freaking out because he doesn't know, he didn't play the game. I just don't think that that's that valuable. I think that you just need to know the story. You need to know the character from that perspective. You are the showrunner, so you should know the game. If you played the game, that's cool. But if you watch a playthrough, that's fair. He needs to know it, though. So he should play it. I think it was like an overreaction to say that you need to play God of War 2018 or the other God of War games to know the story. I think you can know it from other aspects. But I did find it interesting that Neil would recommend against playing The Last of Us Part 2 for Caitlin Dever to understand it. That's such an interesting concept. He's like, don't do it. Like I'm that's a direction. I don't want you to do it. I want you to. They are potentially changing her character up enough between the game and the show. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
But. Yeah, I don't know why. I thought that she did play the games, though. I feel like I remember her mentioning that she played the games with her family or something.
She might have, but he was saying that basically they were asking about whether she had talked to Laura Bailey, who plays the same character in the game, to get insight on the character before playing the character. And Neil and apparently Neil recommended against talking to Laura Bailey, and Caitlin Dever apparently hasn't met her.
Oh,
which is weird to me, but it makes sense because they're different and they're trying to change up how she acts, and she's not the exact same character because they're doing a different spin on it a little bit, apparently.
Yeah,
and that's interesting. I found that really intriguing. So she might have played it. To be fair, it does make sense. Caitlin Dever has a connection with that studio that makes those games. Like,
yes,
she has a connection with like Naughty Dog as an example, in some ways. So there's that. So she might have played it because she might be a gamer, and she might have just played it to enjoy it anyway. And then like she doesn't know the future that she's going to get cast, so she might have played the game anyway. But regardless of that, she was told that she would, apparently, according to this TV Line interview, when she said this, she's told by Neil not to play it to understand the character, which is cool. It's neat.
It's interesting.
But I'm curious what that means for the actual show. I found that the first season's very true to the game, like in most ways, except for the things they change drastically and go a little bit off the beaten path. But you get you get the full feel. It's not like watching the Halo TV show or something, you know?
Yeah.
Where people were like livid about how what changes they made to the actual video game inside the show. So it is curious.
Very curious.
Super exciting. Sorry, you have more to say? You look very pensive.
No.
Okay.
No, I just said very curious.
Yeah, no, I heard you, and you just look like you're about to say something insightful. Okay, my next, my first choice is Warfare by Alex Garland. He's directing it. Actually, I should give the other director some credit. So I'm going to type in Warfare here into my IMDb just quickly here.
I want to say it's something Mendoza.
It is Ray Mendoza.
Yes.
I'm fairly certain this story is based off of his memory, if I recall correctly. And then Alex Garland came in to help him direct it. So it's co-directed by these two gentlemen. And it looks crazy. It looks really visceral and kind of anxiety inducing from the trailers. I'm very excited for this. But yeah, it's got a crazy cast too, it seems like. Does not include Harris Dickinson in it.
Yeah.
Will Poulter, yeah. Right. A lot of
I'm excited for this one.
Big actress.
Excited isn't the right word, actually. But I want to watch this movie.
I'm excited. I mean, you can be excited for a piece of art. You know, it's going to be stress inducing, but it's going to be great. But anyway, that launches April 11th, 2 days before The Last of Us season 2.
I want to watch that movie.
All right, what's your next pick?
Yeah, another movie actually that's coming out on April 11th, Simon, is the movie called Drop, which is directed by Christopher Landon, who did Happy Death Day to You, Freaky, who was originally going to direct Scream 7. He actually was one of the writers on Hard Eyes, funnily enough, which makes sense. Again, I didn't talk about Hard Eyes too much, but really great movie. And there's a lot of parallels between that and like how Scream is kind of set up, which is really cool. Kind of like the reveals and stuff and like who done it, that aspect. So it's interesting. I have a theory that like he wrote something for Scream 7, and then when he dropped out of that project, he's like, I'm going to take a lot of these ideas and just make it into Hard Eyes.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, I'm very excited for this Drop movie. I think it's rated very well right now on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm hoping we can give it a really good score on Rotten Potatoes if you want to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I want to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. My next pick is a TV show called Your Friends and Neighbors.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw this.
No.
This is a John Hamm starring TV series in which a rich guy gets a divorce and loses his job, and then he can't even just pay the taxes and all the debts he's racked up. and he has to start stealing from his rich neighborhood, random houses. So he starts burglarizing his neighbors. It just looks wacky and it looks kind of fun. And I'm kind of into that. There was a time in which John Hamm, I don't even remember that campaign where he said everyone's in this except for John Hamm, Apple TV Plus, on the marquee. Everyone but John Hamm. But now he's in a lot of things. I think he's going to be more and more. But yeah, this looks pretty funny. We'll see how it goes. I was just looking at who the creator was because I never actually saw that. It's Jonathan Tropper. So I'm not sure. I'm a little tentative. I'm a little skittish about Jonathan Tropper a little bit because I know the Adam Project was a thing he wrote, which didn't do that well. Although it was pretty popular, I think, with people watching it. So maybe not super well didn't do super well on a reviews perspective, but might be fun. But regardless, it looks pretty fun. This thing, it's worth checking out. I just watch a lot of Apple TV Plus stuff, and so they hit me with the advertisement for it before I watched Silo or an episode of something else. And so anyway, looks good. Looks cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right, your next pick, your last pick.
My last pick is a movie that is coming out on April 18th, Simon. And it is the movie called Sinners, which is Ryan Coogler directed movie starring Michael B. Jordan and also Michael B. Jordan. He's playing two characters. And it looks interesting. I'm curious. Haley Steinfeld is also in it. And it seems like it takes place in kind of like the deep South in like, I don't know what, like 1800s, early 1900s. It's very like, I don't know. I'm curious what this movie is. Is it vampires? I don't know. I'm watching the trailer. It looks like vampires.
No? It's New Orleans.
It might be. I don't know. I don't know geometry at all, Simon, let alone geography. So anything related to geo, unknown. Geodude, no clue. But this movie looks fun. And I would like to watch this film as well.
Cool. Sounds good. Another pick for me, The Amateur. The Amateur coming out April 11th, starring Rami Malek as a guy who works for the CIA, I think. But he's like an analyst. But he's not an analyst. I think he built like some of their systems like for surveillance. Yeah. And then his wife gets taken or whatever or killed, and then he's got to go. I say taken because I think his wife's alive secretly, based on the trailer. But hey, because this Rachel Brosnahan is playing his wife, and so then he's got to go. He doesn't have to go, but he's gonna go on a revenge trek, even though all the people at the CIA that he's trying to get training from kind of deny him. But it's got Lawrence Fishburne and John Bernthal in it. It looks pretty fun and pretty cool. I actually am interested in seeing this if the stars align. If it makes sense. It comes out on April 11th. Oh, I don't know if I said this already, but Your Friends and Neighbors season 1 premiere is on April 11th as well. If I missed that.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think you said the day.
Tidbit. But yeah, a lot of things on April 11th, actually. It's kind of strange. We got Your Friends and Neighbors, Warfare, The Amateur, and Drop all on the same day. They're not that, I feel like they're not that mutually exclusive in terms of audiences.
It's funny, but it's like, I want to watch all those.
yeah, we do. Yeah. Well, we were kind of unique in a way too, but like when the funny thing is we're at the theater and like all these people are there and there's like people dropping off, SUVs dropping off at the Cineplex, and we're going to go see Death of a Unicorn. And there's like so many kids there, and we're like, these are teenagers. They're going to see Minecraft for sure, and they have to be. And I'm like, is there any possibility that our theater is going to be full of kids? And I'm like, I look at it and it's like empty. I take a look at the reserved seating chart. I'm like, no, it's empty. It's all Minecraft. And then they came out, oh yeah. And then one kid was like, that's the greatest movie I've ever seen. And they're like maybe 15 or 16, 17, 18 maybe. Like they look like they could be university kids. I was like shocked. I'm like, that's the greatest movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, you literally said that to the kid. You're like, that's the greatest movie you've ever seen. And then you punched him in the nose. And then he fell on the ground. And then another kid came out and said, that was fucking awesome. And then you got into your electric vehicle and drove into them. It was crazy.
No, I didn't. For legal reasons, I did not.
Yeah.
I did not do that.
Yeah, sure.
We're recording a podcast and posting this online, Adrian, So let's just be a little bit more timid. Also, wasn't this a thing that you had a bit going for the first 100 episodes where you said that I attacked children as well in a theater? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is just coming full circle. You're just reusing your bits. That's what's happening here. It's ridiculous. Ask anyone. Ask anyone. That never happened. I did not abuse these children. I didn't run them over with my car. I'd be in jail. I wouldn't be recording a podcast. It's true.
You don't know.
It's true.
Maybe
There's
you're
lots of
recording
witnesses,
from jail.
theoretically. In this hypothetical situation, there's a lot of witnesses, so there's no way this would have flown.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. I guess I'll throw one more in there. I did change this. I edited this. A look to the future, where I talk about specifically how there's 3 picks each, but it doesn't have to be 3. And I picked one more. The Handmaid's Tale season 6, Adrian.
Wow. Premieres
on April 8th. That's the last season, I think, of this Margaret Atwood book-based TV show, which has been pretty popular. Have you watched any seasons or any episodes of the show at all? Okay.
I don't even know what it's about, really.
You've never read The Handmaid's Tale?
No, Simon, I don't know how to read. Stop rubbing it in my face.
I'm only rubbing it in your face because I'm not really rubbing it in your face. I'm just surprised because I read it for school. That's why I'm asking.
What grade? Like 2?
Yeah, grade 2. Do you know the subject matter of this at all?
No, it's. I know it's like it's a book. Yeah. I know it's about women being not allowed to do things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
I know the synopsis.
Not how
we can move along.
Okay, I think that's it. I think this is the end of this episode. This has been a long one. There's a lot of content, though. There's a lot of information that we went through. There's a lot of CinemaCon announcements. Nothing from SockOn, thankfully.
SockOn D's nuts, dude. SockOn D's nuts, man.
Pointless. Why did I even bring it up? We talked about there's a lot of things. There's a lot of announcements. And then the Marvel announcement was unexpected. I didn't see that coming at all. I don't know if they announced that, they like foreshadowed that or told us about that. I don't think they did. Before they just randomly dropped a 5.5. We didn't talk about how it's a 5.5 hour stream.
Yeah.
How nuts is that shit? Like,
that's
so
stream.
Cool though. It's such a cool idea. I like the idea of them putting the effort in. And then like as you watch it, they just drop chairs. They put the chairs down next to each other, and there's a guy just walks across and puts the chairs down. In the last shot. What are you doing?
I'm counting the amount of people they announced. I think it counted 27. But then I lost count on the last 2, so it's either 26 or 27. And I'm trying to do math.
Okay.
5.5 hours. So that's 60 times 5.5 divided by. Did I say 26 or 27? Let's say 26. 26. That's a cast member revealed every 13 minutes. Just under 13 minutes.
Yeah, I calculated it to be like just about 12 every 12 minutes. Like just over 12 minutes for each. It's not 5.5. It was 5 hours and 20 something minutes.
5 hours 20 something minutes. So you gave me the wrong timing. Oh my God. I'm getting mad.
5 hours 27. Did I write that?
No, that's just what you said just now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you calculated. Oh, it was 13. Okay. Good for you. Good math. Good for you.
I don't know if it's 13, Simon. It's 12.69230077, but this is based on 330 minutes and 26 people. But
I'm not sure if the precision in this particular thing is
the numbers
necessary.
might be off.
We're trying to wrap the show up. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's been swell, Adrian. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, audience, for listening to episode 107 of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. My name is Simon Eady, and this is Adrian Pinter signing off. Actually, it says my is Simon Eady, and this is Adrian Pinter signing off. I do grammar. Good. Goodbye.
You do Kelsey Grammer.
I have no relationship with Kelsey Grammer. Are you going to wrap this up or not?
Take care. Goodbye.
Goodbye.